the reason I'm here today. Muslim, I need you to make dua for my little brother here. But this is Philly, man. What y'all got going on here, man? Like, this shit is sickening, man. Like, y'all changing lives, man. Like, for generations. Y'all killing mothers, y'all killing sisters, y'all killing brothers, y'all killing sons, y'all killing nephews. For what? About internet beef, about a chick that's whoring out here anyway, about a block that ain't even yours, about money that you're going to get to go spend and give it to somebody. It's not like you want no money out here to save. Y'all niggas want money to spend. That's what y'all doing? That's what y'all doing out here, right? Yo, shit is sickening. This shit is sickening. Talking to the funeral director, he says he get them 2-3 times a day. That's what we doing to our Muslim brothers, huh? We're not protecting each other. I mean, if we ain't protecting each other, you're definitely letting anything happen to them. That's what we doing, huh? I gotta wake up. I gotta wake up, man. I'm gonna tell you like this. Everybody must face death. So you out here push and play, you think you parking shit, putting people through grief about their kids, you'll be here one day also. You know what I'm saying? Just know, when the law asks you about your deeds, your good deeds, that's what to get you to Jannah in paradise. Anything else, be done with. I gotta do better, man. I gotta do a whole lot more better, man. This is sickening. I hate to say that I'm even from Philly, like, you know what I'm saying? Not that it's better anywhere else in any other country or any other state, but I can only worry about where I'm at right now, you know what I'm saying? Make a change one block at a time, one house at a time, one block at a time. This is crazy.
Lee Peterson released a video today titled Mess.
3 of these things belong together. 3 of these things are kind of the same. But 1 of these things just doesn't belong here. And now it's time to play our game. It's time to play our game. 1 of these things just doesn't belong here. Tell me, did you guess which one? If you guessed this thing just doesn't belong here, you're absolutely right. And now my song is done.
We are the Muslim wing of the Black Grassroots. Unapologetic, strong, uncompromising voices that have been in the faces of the enemy and those who tap dance for them. The Feachaz is proud to present the archives exclusively on Patreon.
These Negroes aren't asking for no nation. They're trying to crawl back on the plantation. A revolution is bloody. Revolution is hostile. Revolution knows no compromise. Revolution overturns and destroys everything that gets in its way. And you sitting around here like a knot on the wall saying, I'm going to love these folks no matter how much they hate me. No, you need a revolution.
Salaam Alaikum. Mr. Moderator, our distinguished guests, brothers and sisters, our friends and our enemies.
Assalamu alaikum, y'all. Can you hear me? I just testing this stuff out here. Just give me 1 minute here. Can y'all hear me? Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Can y'all hear me? I just want to test this stuff out for my next live, inshallah. And I'll wrap with you guys for a little bit, anyways, because I want to see how these headphones work and this speaker. Can y'all hear me? Press number 1 if you can hear me, inshallah. And let's talk about some of these your YouTubian da'i elite for a little bit, right? I'm not sure if I'm gonna keep this particular video on the channel, right? But you know, as we said before, Daniel Haqiqatjou is the gift that keeps on giving. Okay, he is just man. That dude is a trip, man. Okay, mashallah, you can hear. All right. So, anyways, yeah. So let's talk for a little bit, inshallah. So, you know, like I get like these articles and whatnot every once in a while, you know, from brothers or whatever. Some brothers they be sending me stuff, right? And some of the stuff is so insane, right? Because these YouTubers are like very popular, and it's mind-boggling how these guys have a Muslim audience or people who are pretending to be Muslim audience, but at the end of the day, it's like who's really surprised that these people are racist, anyways, man? Like, who is really surprised? You know, we as black people, we need to get it together, and we have to be honest and truthful with ourselves, right? The entire world looks at you as human cattle and beasts of burden, and they don't see you as human beings. And this is no different with the larger Muslim society. No matter where you go, particularly like I've been in the Arab world, they're going to look at you black folk differently. They're not going to see you as brothers. They're going to see you as the help, the work, you know, the something to entertain them, something to, you know, basically plow their fields and stuff like that. But they're not going to look at you as something serious. You feel me? So anyways, here I am, right? As usual, just minding my own business. Okay. And then brothers are sending me some crazy stuff about your YouTubian da'i elite. And I thought, you know what? Let me just quickly hop on YouTube and just share some of this stuff with you, man. Right? Because I'm going to have to do a proper video about it because I never usually go on this late. You know what I mean? But I haven't been on all week because I've been like working and studying and all this kind of stuff. Right? I'm just starting to take 2 more courses now. Right? So, and I asked the brother to please send this to the stuff that he was telling me about to my WhatsApp. You feel me? So I'm gonna share some of this stuff with you. Right? And then, like I said before, like why are we even surprised? 1 second, yeah. Give me a minute so I can find this stuff. 1 second, y'all. So we're just having some late night chat. Just nothing too fancy. Something really informal. All right. So let me have a look here. Let me try to find it for you. Here. This stuff is like so crazy, man. I can't even believe half the stuff I'm seeing, man. It's like, is this real? Like, like sometimes I think I live in a twilight zone, bro. It's like, how are Muslims signing off on this thing, these things? I don't know. It's just too crazy. Okay, so I'm just getting the messages up now, and then I'm gonna share them with you, and then we're gonna talk about this stuff. Okay. All right. Nothing, like I said, nothing too fancy, nothing too formal. Right. So I'm gonna share the link right now. Right. and then maybe we're gonna have a smoke show about these guys, man. Because to be honest, black people, right? Like I said, we are the ones who allow a lot of this stuff to happen because we're never on code. And even though there is the only code of conduct really that is relevant for black people right now is actually the Quran and the Sunnah. And I don't mean it as a means of lip service or, a means as being facetious or being like something that's touche to say. No, it's literally following the Quran and the Sunnah. You get it? So having good manners, having respect for one another, not exposing each other's sins. You get me? Not getting into argumentation, even if you feel that you are correct. Things of this nature, right? So when I say Quran, I actually mean the Quran and Sunnah. And from the Quran and the Sunnah is to actually fight racism. You get it? That's actually from the Quran and the Sunnah. How do you have Muslims in 2023 openly saying that I'm racist? 2022 rather, openly saying I'm racist and stuff. How do you have that? They telling people, yeah, I'm a racist. And other people are affirming that people are not even Muslims that this dude is a racist. You get it? So anyways, let me just put this out here. Trying to pull it up. 1 second, y'all. Here we go. This stuff is like really crazy, man. So let me share this with you, man. Hop on the link if you want to talk on this too, man. Some of y'all, most of y'all, I'm positive don't know about this, right? But this is like, you think it's just Daniel? Come on, man. The thing is that black people, they think that everybody loves them as much as they love everybody, right? And that is just simply not the case. Right? People don't love you. You're black, man. Salaam Alaikum. Abu Sufyan. Salaam Alaikum. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Sheikh? Can you hear me? Okay, we'll pull him out for now until he gets this stuff together. Right, and let me just show you this. Let me show you all this. Okay, let me share it. This is a late night chat with the people. Now, how many of y'all know about blogging theology? Just type number 1 if you know about this channel, Blogging Theology. Put number 1 in the chat if you've heard of it. The channel is called Blogging Theology. End of the week roasting, mashallah. Informal roasting, Josh. Okay, excellent. So we got some brothers who know about blogging theology. Now, okay, excellent. Okay, so y'all know blogging theology, right? Blogging theology really not my thing, right? I'm an older brother, right? I look at channels like that, and I'm like, first of all, I'm wondering how a person like him has a large channel like that. Like, that's just naturally comes into my head, because the dude is a convert, just became Muslim, doesn't really know much about Islam, right? And it's very obvious he doesn't know much about Islam, but he has this massive channel. I'm like, well, how did he do that? So me, naturally, it has nothing to do with anything other than experience and things of this nature that, I'm like, okay, I don't know what his angle is or why he's popular, but the brother named Paul, right? He apparently he's from the LGBT community. He became Muslim and whatnot. But looky here, right? Like we don't really care about that too much, right? We don't really care about, because if a person's making tawbah, they're leaving off their sins. That's one thing, right? But what we do care about is, like I said, the code of conduct. It's about the code of conduct, right? So we have to have a code of conduct. And there's certain things that we just should not tolerate. Things like shirk, okay? Things like magic, okay? And things like racism. We can't tolerate that. Why? Because the Prophet ﷺ, he specified this particularly in his final khutbah. Right? So check this out, y'all. Check this out, because I don't want y'all to think that I'm making this stuff up. Okay? Paul Williams the racist. Okay? This is some Quran and Bible blog. I don't know whose blog this is, right? But they showed the receipts, the actual receipts. Okay? Ex-Muslim, more in the sorrow than anger, not anti-Islam, thoroughly red-pilled, race realist. You cannot make this crap up. You cannot make this crap up. Now, apparently, this guy, Paul Williams, blogging Theology, because I didn't know this, right? He became Muslim, left Islam, became Muslim several times. He becomes Muslim, then he leaves Islam. Then he becomes Muslim, then he leaves Islam. He does this routinely. So I was wondering how he got this platform, just as a regular convert gay Muslim, right? I didn't know that he habitually left Islam, came Islam. I didn't know any of that, right? And apparently those brothers in UK, they know, and they still pushing him. They still pushing him. But wait, don't stop there. When you see phrases like race realist, and you're not even white, coupled with racial epithets like Paki, or a derogatory term for people of Pakistan, like using N-words for black people, is there still any lingering doubt? This man is an attention seeker, a liar, and a racist, and I urge all Muslims to stop engaging with him. But what the larger Muslim community is saying, by engaging with people like this, not just engaging with them, but making them popular. And I've seen, a couple of his interviews or whatnot. He's not the best interviewer, you know what I mean? It's not really, if you think about it, it's not really anything. It's like there's nothing really there that says, okay, you know what I'm gonna do with my Friday or my Saturday night? I'm gonna watch Blog and Theology. You get it? It's like it's really nothing there. It's not necessarily a dig at the brother, but I personally am not seeing it. But if this person on this blog can find this on Paul Williams' Twitter, then his followers, they know, and they just simply don't care. It's just like Daniel Haqiqatjou. It's just like if you look at the situation with him and what's his face, man? Who's Daniel Haqiqatjou's? The teacher's pet, man. Teacher's pet. Daniel Haqiqatjou's teacher's pet. What's his name again? Y'all remember? I can't remember. Why am I? Somebody get the flyer up, man, and get that. The guy who's organizing the AIM conference, man. The Egyptian guy, right? What's his name? Even I can't remember his name. Kareem Abu Zaid, that's him, right? Kareem Abu Zaid. You mean to tell me Kareem Abu Zaid don't know about Daniel Haqiqatjou? Are you tripping? Are you seriously tripping right now? Do you know how many people told Kareem Abu Zaid about Daniel Haqiqatjou? Do you seriously? And he's still pushing him for this AIM conference? What they are implicitly telling you is that they're fine with racism. So what are you going to do about it, black people? That's the real question. Are you going to run behind these types in order to win their brotherhood, even though they don't like your nappy hair and your big broad nose and your fat lips and You know, they don't like anything about you. Your skin complexion. You're still gonna run behind them and beg them for brotherhood? Is that what you're gonna do? You know, the Prophet ﷺ, he refuted these types himself. Even on his last khutbah, he refuted these types. Look at this. No, you're not even white, Paki, perhaps. This is crazy. But that's not even the worst thing that he's said. You know, this is just on this particular vlog. Y'all feel me? These are your YouTubian elites that you guys run behind and follow. Like, why? Like, even I'm looking at it like, I'm like, why though? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what does he bring to the table, man? I'm not getting it. You know? And at the same time, black folk will pretty much distance themselves, not just distance, but refute their own scholarship. They will refute their own scholarship to go and run behind some racist and a thope to give them a lecture about stop talking about black issues because that's racist. Then y'all go for it like a bunch of suckers and chumps, man. Let's see this one, shall we? Let's see another one here. Hold on, let me just pull it up. He's a race realist, he said. A race realist. Y'all hearing me? He's a race realist. Blogging theology, y'all. Like, even me is like, man, like you guys do it to yourselves. For me, like, I just watched like maybe not. I couldn't even finish an entire episode of anything he put out, right? Not a single entire episode, right? But I'm like, I don't know. I'm not seeing it. No hate. People want to watch it, whatever. Because I don't know him. I don't know him like that. You know what I mean? But after seeing this, it's like, you've got to be kidding me. You have got to be kidding me. Even somebody like this, the amount of attention that he gets for really not doing much, just showing up white and gay and, you know, putting up a Muslim blog and that's it, you know. And people flocking to his what you call it, his channel. You get me? But only because of that, not because he's bringing anything to only because of that, right? Okay, whatever, right? But now you see he has these issues. You see these issues, but anyways, this is so crazy, man. You try to pull something else up here. I'm going directly to his Twitter here. All right, let's share this with y'all. This is crazy, man. Like how you guys anyway. I don't want to talk too much. Let me just pull it up. Let me share the screen, y'all. This is so crazy, man. Paul Williams leaves Islam again. 5th to 10th time leaving Islam. Who wrote this? Paul Williams himself. When did he write this? August 19, 2020. Not even that long ago. Not even that long ago, man. And not even 2 years later, he's got this massive channel and inviting Muslim personalities to his channel. Somebody make it make sense, please. How is it that the Muslim community has combined to support someone like this? The only support that he needs to be getting is a Quran and Arabic class, and he definitely don't need to be in front of no camera. 5th to 10th time leaving Islam by his own Twitter post, and y'all push his channel like what? Y'all are tripping, man. Like this is the reality of the dawa. Yeah, Paul Williams, the one who's running Blogging Theology. That channel. But wait, don't stop there. Let me show you all something. Let me show y'all something because we out here late night. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, this is crazy, man. How does something like this happen? How do not a single one of y'all from the UK or YouTubian Dawa elite not say a single thing about this? Not one of you. As a matter of fact, you go to his channel and push it, and you don't see a problem with that. Like you don't see how this can possibly blow up in your face. Possibly. This is so crazy, man. This is so crazy. Let me pull some other stuff out for y'all. One second, y'all. Let me just pull this up here. This is real casual tonight, guys. Nothing too serious. We're just like open chat here right now because it's late. And I'm like, I'm really sick of these people, man. Like straight up, you know. Watch this, y'all. Okay, let me just share it with you. We're gonna watch somebody that most of y'all, if you're like a Eastern Muslim, you're not gonna know who this is. Every black person probably knows who I'm about to share with y'all, and every black person hates his guts, right? And I mean every black person hates his guts, right? So we're gonna share something.
The rise of Donald Trump has brought with it a cadre of goofs in the media sphere. Maybe I'm one of them. Not necessarily on the Donald Trump team, if you haven't noticed, but there are your Charlie Kirks and your people who are nobodies before Donald Trump. Again, still a nobody, but no one really knew who I was before that, for sure. But in the right, you've got people like Jesse Lee Peterson, the worst of the Jessies, I think. And he was given an interview, and he said some just bizarre things, being a black man, agreeing not only that white supremacy exists, but agreeing with the concept of white supremacy, agreeing with the idea that whites are indeed superior to blacks. I'm going to play the clip, and then we'll talk about it and then some other things he said that are just insane on the other side.
I used to think that when they used that word, white supremacy, it was a negative word. But now I realize what they're thinking is that, and it's true, by the way, that white men are smarter than them, superior to them. And instead of learning, oh, hey, how did you become so superior? They want to destroy it so that they won't be reminded how dumb they are. And so they're dumbing everybody and everything down rather than coming up to the level of white supremacy.
What?
That's all you need to know about Jesse Lee Peterson. I'll give you one guess. Which one y'all think that black people don't like? Is it the white guy or the black guy? Just put white or black in a chat. Which one do you think that black people don't like? Is it the white guy or is it the black guy? Put it in the chat, please. Who do you think? Do you think black people have a problem with that white guy and his channel? Or do they have a problem with the black guy that was being interviewed? That black guy, his name is Jesse Lee Peterson. Okay? He is Uncle Ruckus, Clayton Bigsby. Essentially, he is the black white supremacist. He is the black white supremacist, by the way. A lot of us kind of thought maybe he's trolling. No, he's been doing this for years. For years. For years. Okay? So now, you wouldn't think any Muslims would be brazen enough to invite somebody like that on their shows, would you? You think a Muslim would do that? And if a Muslim did do that, why do you think that would be? Sister Tika's like, yes, I do. I think Muslim will do that. Yeah, we got some new Muslims out here. Some new style Muslims out here, man. So, Jesse Lee Peterson openly says white people are smarter and superior than black people. And black people should embrace white supremacy because I used to think it was a bad thing. He said this openly. Right? So somebody who sides with a person like that, what do you call them? Put it in the chat, please. If you side with somebody like this, what do you call them? Just put it in the chat, please. So that I know I'm not crazy. Just put it in the chat. Somebody who says that white people are superior somebody who says that you know, you should learn how to be smarter like white people. And if you side with that person, what does that make you? Just somebody put it in the chat, please. 'Cause yeah, we're gonna say a white supremacist. That makes you a white supremacist. Okay? That's what we're gonna say. All right? So, I want y'all to see something. So you know I'm not tripping here. White supremacist or white supremacist sympathizer. Yep. That's what I would say. You don't invite somebody like Jesse Lee Peterson to your channel unless you yourself are a white supremacist. Like that's just how it works. You know what I mean? Or unless you're trying to debate him on white supremacy issues, which is what the pro black masses do. But you're definitely not going to debate him on no religious issues, because if anything, he's a troll, right? So let me share something with y'all, because you all are going to think I'm tripping. Who's that? Who's that with Jesse Lee Peterson?
He says he would look at my father and say, "Look, all these people. He's so popular. Everyone knows you." So he would say, "Build a house in every village." That means be good with everybody.
Yeah.
Be a good human being.
Treat everybody the way you like to be treated. Absolutely.
Yeah. So those are the values that my father taught me. Not to discriminate, to be a good, upright person. You know what I mean? And these are the values that then I found obviously in Islam. That took it to a whole nother level.
Well, let me ask you this. I understand that your father was at work, you were closer to your mother, but before you understood as you do now, did it have an impact on you personally that he wasn't there a lot?
No, I mean, my father was there. He was there. I wasn't there. I was, there was a culture clash. So now, coming from Europe, coming over here,
Let me ask y'all something. If Jesse Lee Peterson invited you to go on his show, would you go? That's from Eddie from the Deen Show. The Deen Show is probably the biggest Muslim interview show on TV and on YouTube. Yeah. No self-respecting Muslim would do something like that. Or a black person, mind you, right? Unless they're debating him. Unless they're going to fight him. Eddie invited Jesse Lee Peterson to his show, and it was only after, I believe, because I wasn't able to find him. It might still be there. Let me try to get on Eddie's channel here. Y'all are tripping, man. Like, you think it's jokes out here in these streets. Salaam Alaikum, Josh. How you doing, bro?
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله كيف حالك؟
Alhamdulillah. How you doing?
الحمد لله.
What you got for us, bro?
Subhanallah, I used to watch the Deen Show and Eddie back in the day, late 2000s or so. And, he's obviously just kind of like he used to bring on some fairly not knowledgeable people and just kind of, go over the basics of Islam. And I thought it was pretty decent videos for dawa, at least back then, and I would share that with my family. But you know, seeing this, and you're right, he went on his show and he invited him again
Yeah.
to interview him, and you know, I watched it out of morbid curiosity just to see what would happen, and you know, the same stupid stuff that he says, and Eddie doesn't challenge him really at all. He's really I mean, just having him there is kind of ridiculous, but just the cordial attitude to the nonsense,
Well,
like it's mind-boggling.
let me show you something. Let me show you something. Since you brought that up, let's because maybe somebody might think, oh Bilal, you're tripping. Oh Bilal, you know Eddie's not like that. You know, maybe somebody might say that, right? Let's have a look at Eddie's channel, shall we? Shall we have a look at it? Let's inspect it. Okay. Let's inspect it because me really, I never really. I like the people that Eddie used to bring, but Eddie as an
Oh yeah,
interviewer,
he used to
he's
bring on
he's a
people like Abu
he's a
Toba.
terrible
And,
interviewer. He's like, I'm sorry to say like that, you know. And he really like I would not watch the show specifically because of Eddie because his interview
yeah,
skills
his
are awful, right?
he's not a good interviewer, and he you know, he asks questions in a sort of nauseating manner, but he does it in the you can see he's doing it with good intentions to try to
Allahu
teach.
alam.
I don't know. At least he
Yeah,
used to. That was my impression.
yeah.
And you know,
But look at this. Look at this. Andrew Tate versus Salman Rushdie. Okay, look at this. What you call it? Again, Andrew Tate. Talking about Ukraine
Allah.
versus Russia, right? Look at what do all these things have in common? He's
What
clearly
happened?
red pilling. He's red pilling. Look at this. Jordan Peterson.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of these Muslim channels are leaning into that red pill / manosphere stuff.
But he right now is taking a very hard line alt-right stances. Right? So if you go over here,
for sure.
let's see. Because if you watch his stuff, he's always talking about this whatchamacallit. Like he started talking about liberalism and LGBTQ and all this kind of stuff, right?
Of course.
So anyways, let's have a look here. Let's see, Jesse Lee Peterson. Let's see if it's still on his channel here. I want to see if it's still here.
Yep.
Yes.
There it is.
It's right there. So, and on top of that, he had him here with this I don't know who that guy is, right? But this is what's happening, right? To the dawa now, not right now, right? Your da'is are taking alt-right positions, red pill positions, racist positions, like open racist positions. They're doing all of this stuff, right? And like I said before, black people, when they're supposed to speak, they don't speak. And when they're not supposed to speak, they speak. Now's the time to say something. Right? And y'all ain't saying nothing. Why? Because you don't want to be the bad guy. You're scared. You're afraid. You get it? It's like you're afraid of these people. Like, be afraid of Allah, man. It's too crazy, man. Go ahead, bro.
No, I mean that's pretty much it. It's there's a huge inclination, you know, highlighted here especially the main body of Muslims on social media and YouTube in particular, of you know, leaning towards the alt-right, which we already know, alt-right red pill positions. I knew about blogging Theology as a channel. I didn't really watch it much, but you mentioned something in your videos before about how these people are good YouTubers, and that's pretty much what he is. He's got his optics set up with all the books in the background. He can come off as an intellectual to the common viewer. He's an older white guy, so you know, it's basically optics, and he brings on people to have these quote unquote intellectual conversations. So that alone will kind of, at least with a shallow view, give some people that he has some kind of ounce of credibility. I didn't know all this other stuff about him, him going in and out of Islam, but I did know that he's a big supporter of Daniel Jew because he
Well, I don't know. I can't say that Eddie's a supporter of Daniel Haqiqatjou. I don't know that for sure. Is he? Do
no
you know?
Paul is Paul of blogging
Oh yeah,
theology,
yeah.
but
This we
but
know.
uh
This we know.
but I
This
don't
we
know.
know.
I wouldn't be surprised if Eddie is though, because I mean, given his clear positions,
Hmm.
it wouldn't be surprising
Who'd be surprised about
whatsoever.
that? Who'd be surprised about that? You know what I mean?
They're all kind of allying together, and then you have this
Hmm.
conference that you mentioned, Tales of the Scripture, coming up, where
Yeah.
they're touting him as some kind of voice of authority on
Like,
Qasas and Biat. So
I know, right? Like
it's
Qasas
like
al-Anbiya by Daniel
my
Haqiqatjou.
dad,
Like,
like what?
what in the his of the hell? You know what I mean?
It's mind-boggling. And then
It is
people,
mind-boggling.
it's it's like last time I said, it's like the most obvious agent of discord and deception. And he doesn't know anything. Just get a random guy off the street to start. Well, his benefit is that he went to Harvard, so he's articulate enough to form the
Does
arguments
that help the
with his
Muslims or does
ideology.
that help him?
That
You know what
helps
I mean?
him. That doesn't help.
Exactly.
Helps him with
With
his
whatever
agenda.
his agenda, whatever he's, you know what I'm saying, right? It helps him, and he exploits that to the max. Of course, the brother Hassan Abdul looks like Abdul Adil.
Abdul al-Muttaqin.
Yeah. So he says it's hard sometimes for average people to catch the right wing coded racist speak though. Yeah, because as we mentioned on this channel before, there's a certain language that they use particularly for black people so that people don't say that they're racist.
Yeah.
You get it? And it's been happening since the time of racism. You get it? So they use these coded languages, these coded language, coded words, right? So if you don't understand racism, you're not going to catch the racism that they're promoting or pushing. You won't be able to catch it. You know what I'm saying? Anybody who is befriending Jesse Lee Peterson is not an ally of black people or Muslims for that matter.
Oh, definitely not.
You know what I mean? This is not the type of person that you bring on your show to have a civil conversation with. The only reason you do that is for one or two reasons. Either you're trying to build your viewership, or you're just like him.
Yep.
It's one of the two reasons. If you're not debating him, because he's debated many people, right? Particularly black people, right? Yeah, a lot of black people. He's debated a lot of black people, right? If you're not debating him, then why are you trying to ally with him? It make sense. It don't make no sense, right? And on top of that, I don't agree.
It's
with.
it's
Go ahead.
pointless. It's pointless debating him because he doesn't debate in good faith. He just mouths off his stupid talking points
Exactly.
as though like some kind of bastardized minstrel show. It's the most bizarre thing to see. Like I don't think anybody with any sense of wanting an actual debate would waste their time.
Mm-hmm.
So it was incredibly disheartening to see Eddie. I mean, I haven't watched the Deen Show in a while, but still, that was a bit surprising for me. But
well, a brother he made this point to me, and it's true actually. You find a lot of these like these white personalities in the Muslim sphere, right? What they do is that they build their platforms based upon black scholarship, right? And once their platform is built,
yeah,
then they come
true.
out of hiding. Eddie did it. Sajid did it. What you call it? Daniel Haqiqatjou, You know what I'm saying? Like all these guys, they build their platforms, right, based upon people who are not them, and then they come out with their true motives afterwards, right? So now Eddie, of all people, he trying to build an Islamic center and stuff like, and he's like asking people for money and on Facebook, running his Facebook campaigns
SubhanAllah.
for for his
I've seen the commercials. There's ads on YouTube.
the ads on
Yeah.
YouTube, like what is this world coming to, man? You know what I mean? I'm going to go to Masjid Eddie now. Like what? Like and nobody's saying anything. Like, you see what I'm saying? If you want to build a masjid, like that's something. If you want to do it, he should be donating to a masjid, right? But to build his own Islamic center, like what are you going to do? Like, come on, bro.
Right.
Come on, like every time I hear you, it sound like you just smoked a fatty or something, like straight up. And he always sound high, bro. I'm sorry to say, like he does, man. He always, you know, like come on, man. But this is what's happening right now. And on top of that, debates, I definitely don't agree with debates as a strategy at all, right? And because what's happening now, especially with the youth, all they do is watch debates.
Yeah.
They don't get knowledge at all. They just watch debates and try to extract the talking points out of debates and think that they're getting knowledge.
It's all reactionary type of information.
Yeah.
Because that's what's exciting.
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
They
don't want to go through all the hard work and the legwork of actually memorizing ayat and hadith, and what they want to do is go right to the sexy stuff, right? These arguments, you know what I mean? And it always backfires.
Those debates, none of the debaters on the Muslim side, quote unquote, ever have any Islamic justification for their arguments.
Yeah.
That's the most ironic part of it. Daniel's the most clear example. All of his talking points are literally alt-right points.
Yeah.
But he dresses it up. Well, he hides the sources, first off. He hides a lot of the main sources, and he'll throw in a few case studies to kind of mask it. He's a very good smuggler. It's kind of funny because one of the books that he threw on, this is kind of a side point, but one of the books that he threw on his reading list, because he has a reading list on his website, it's called The Disenchantment of Secular Discourse, and he notes that as one of his favorite books. And in that book, the author, I actually read this book just out of curiosity, and in that book the author talks about how a lot of smuggling is done in secular discourse. And what they mean by smuggling is, to introduce an idea, but to kind of, hide the source of it. So people, or basically to try to introduce ideas in a secretive kind of way. And that's what Daniel does. He does a lot of smuggling in his videos, his debates. It's all a bunch of smuggling. So
yeah, and he actually tries to trap people with logical fallacies as well, right? So he will be the one purporting a logical fallacy and trying to get people based upon a lot, like, so he's like, as you mentioned before, he's not going into the debates in good faith anyways. And honestly, I haven't heard him, because I watched the debate he had there with what's the one that made him really popular. Who's that guy again?
Apostate Prophet.
That's the one. Yeah, that's the one. That was when I watched that debate. But the thing I noticed even at that time is that he didn't quote anything from Quran or Sunnah.
No, he's never done it. He never quotes anything from Quran or Sunnah. It's always some skewed stats. It's always red pill / alt-right points. And then he'll tie it back to say Islam is about the traditional family values, blah blah blah. and then people will just eat it up and then
Yeah.
start calling them ustaz.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
It's like, wait, but he didn't say any.
You know what I mean? It don't make any sense, man. Like, none whatsoever, right? So Muslims now, that they are the ones who are consuming this stuff, and when they run into problems, they're looking for more stuff to consume to solve the problems that they caused by consuming the bad stuff to begin with. You get me? Instead of going to traditional Islamic learning, which will actually aid you in dealing with these types. You understand? Because Islam is essentially the solution for all these issues here. And I don't mean it as a like just a talking point. No, like if you're looking at Islam and Islamic history and how the Prophet ﷺ implemented and the Sahaba implemented Islam, the way that they did it, if you do it like that, right, you're going to put yourself in a situation where you're going to eventually win if you're patient with the process, right? But these guys don't want to do that. They don't want to do that. They want, as you said, they want the entertainment factor, right? And then when they go on out in the street and they try to use these arguments, they get caught out. You get me? Like I was talking to a brother, right? Because this young brother, and he was looking for advice because he's trying to make street dawa. And you know what this brother was doing?
I'm scared to hear.
Oh my gosh, man, young brother, man, may Allah, bless him, man. I mean, he was going out, right, and he's trying to talk to an atheist, right?
Oh.
Right. So the atheist asks him. He goes like this: if you can prove to me that God exists, then I believe God exists. So he's getting excited now. Why? Because he watched Muhammad Hijab's videos, and what's that argument he uses all the time? The ontological. I can't remember. Man. What is it?
It's the Kalam argument.
Yeah. Yes, the Kalam argument, right? So he tried to use that on this white atheist.
How
like in my mind I was laughing because he got destroyed, right? But I was like, okay, but this is a sad situation because you really think the Quran is that weak that you need to go to these arguments? That's only appropriate like sometimes for somebody who knows the argument, right? So he's explained the situation. I said, okay, listen, young man. Okay, here's a couple of things. Right, first of all, the first mistake that you made was that when the guy said, "If you can prove to me that God exists," right, you engaged him in that argument. Right, Islam is not even about that. Islam is the call to the worship of Allah. Right. Let's say that now you prove to him that God exists. Does that mean he's going to become a Muslim? No, he's just going to be a person that believes that God exists now. All right. What you have to do is call him to Allah. And then so the second thing, right? For atheists, really, I find atheists the easiest people to deal with, much more than Christians and any other people who are theological, right? Why? Because their whole argument is completely illogical. Right, to say that God doesn't exist. It's the most illogical, unnatural argument that a person can absolutely make, right? And what they want to do is they want to make atheism parallel and tantamount to being scientific and educated, right? Which is not the case at all, right? This idea that atheism and science go hand in hand, it's an argument between white people. Okay, that started in the late 17th century, early 1800s, when the scientific community was tired of being stifled by the church, right? So you found the greatest minds started writing their books that opposed church beliefs. It started with Charles Lyell and Charles Darwin. Okay, Lyell was an atheist. Darwin wasn't an atheist, but Lyell used Darwin's theory of evolution to come up with the theory of how the earth was basically millions of years old, right? And he basically used Darwin's theory of evolution to say the earth is not 6,000 years old like the Christians say, right? It's actually millions of years old, and and that's how that whole thing started, right?
Yeah.
That again got nothing to do with Muslims. Muslims have always been leading the field of science. The scientific theory started with Muslims. You get it? Because we're
Yeah.
using the Quran, right, to learn about the world and how things work, and when Allah says "Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq," read in the name of your Lord who created. Khalaqal insana min alaq. He created human beings from a clinging clot of blood, hanging to the walls of the uterus of the woman, right? What do Muslims do? They go try to research these type of things. You see what I'm saying? Right. So many of your sciences come from Muslims. Algebra comes from algebra, for example.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Alchemy and all this kind of stuff, right? But these people don't know that. They don't know that. And the Muslims now, because of this inferiority complex that they have because of white supremacy, they always try to talk to these people from a position of weakness. Because they don't believe that the Quran and the Sunnah can actually defeat these arguments. They don't believe that. You get it?
Yeah.
And because they don't learn the Quran and the Sunnah. If you actually learned the Quran and you learned the Sunnah, you come up with the most intelligent arguments against atheism. Like Allah says in the Quran, did you create yourselves, or are yourselves created from nothing? Behind it is a profound statement. You know what I mean? This is a statement of Allah Himself, right? Behind this statement is a deep, profound statement, right? Everything had to have come from something. Just name anything in existence that comes from nothing. What you atheists are saying is that everything in existence came from nothing. And the only time that everything in existence came from nothing was when everything came into existence. You can't find any other time other than that everything came from nothing. Somebody make it make sense. That's scientific? Come on, man. You have to have a lot of faith to believe that, right? More than me.
I mean, the reality is, atheists aren't atheists because of science. They're atheists because of some emotional
Yes, they're
reason.
really atheists are atheists because of Christianity. Let's just call it what it is.
Yeah. Like every time they talk about it, they always kind of go back to, if God is real, why does suffering happen? Or, why does this happen? How could a God allow this? All this. So they always default back to, these kind of emotional, appeals. I don't see why that's necessary if you're a man of science. But, you hear this, especially from the common atheist, like not so much the more intellectual vanguards of it or whatever, but like the regular atheists you meet, it's all because of some emotional reason. It has nothing to do with science at all.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with science. And as a matter of fact, if you just put like the brakes on them a little bit, just use some of those ayat that you learned from the Quran, use some of those hadiths that you learned from the Sunnah, right? Believe me, you're going to blow their minds. Because they're not seeing they're not seeing it like how you're seeing it, and you have to keep them, basically talking about the main point. Either God exists or He doesn't exist. It can't be both, right? If you are saying that God does not exist, if you're saying this, then are you saying that all this creation came from nothing? So if I put nothing in a box right now, that's not even air is in this box, nothing. How many millions of years do I have to keep this nothing in the box until that nothing becomes something?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And where are these other things that are popping out of nowhere? Because they just created themselves, as you're saying. Just keep it simple. You don't have to get complicated. You know what I mean?
I can't remember where I heard this from, but atheists, at least in the Islamic sense, were traditionally known as slaves to time, because in reality they believe that time will eventually flesh out,
everything.
Something coming from nothing.
Exactly.
So
all
their
you
God
have to do is add time to it. That's it.
Every person, even the atheist, they have a God, and in their case, it's time.
Time,
Like
yeah.
every atheist, because they believe that time will eventually, or the universe, you
Mm.
know, one of these things will eventually flesh out something. You just have to give it time. Even when you ask about, some of these scientific arguments, they say, "Oh, well, we don't know this now, but eventually, the scientific breakthroughs will come such that we'll understand it." So
Okay, well let's put it to test. Let's put that entire theory that they say, oh, we're gonna discover it later, to test. You understand? If what you're saying is true, right? We have to base what we believe on in evidence, correct?
yeah,
That's the whole point. We have to base what you believe on in evidence, right? So now we have the evidence that God exists, but what you're trying to tell me is that eventually time will tell the evidence that God doesn't exist. But let's say, for example, you're saying, well, the evidence that God exists right now, right, is circumstantial, as the atheists say, right? As the atheists say, right? Right? Okay, we'll accept that. We'll make a concession here. It's circumstantial. This circumstantial evidence that we have, is it more or less than the no evidence that you have that God doesn't exist? Which one? Yes, yes or no? Is it more or less?
definitely more.
It has to be more. So
Without
in
a
a
doubt.
court of law,
So
right?
even with the scientific argument, the
Exactly.
theist has more proof, but
Mhm.
out of their emotions, they're still going to reject it. Out of their ideology, they're going to hold to it because
Yeah.
it's a very faith-based system.
Yeah, their system is actually more faith-based than faith-based any other faith-based. You have to have a lot of faith. You really do, right? Because they themselves don't believe any things come from nothing. They don't believe that, and they themselves don't believe that things create themselves. They don't believe that. But what they're saying is that the entire everything in existence, right? It necessitates that. You get it? So you don't have to get fancy. But what these guys want to do, they want to get fancy because they're intimidated. Because there's this myth that
Well,
atheism equates to rational thinking and science, and it really does not.
it goes. It's totally related to the inferiority complex.
Mhm.
Atheists, especially the more educated ones,
Mhm.
they they use they use a lot of words, a lot of fancy word salad to describe why they believe what they
Yeah,
believe, and
exactly. And
it
there's that
intimidates.
old saying: if you can't if you can't dazzle them with brilliance, then baffle them with bull.
Yeah, it's just if you really listen to it,
Yeah,
it's garbage.
it's
Like
garbage. It's
you're
BS.
not saying anything. Like make it
All you're
plain.
doing is throwing the biggest words you can out of the dictionary in order to confuse people,
Yeah, like
right?
they they
Break it
c- they
break it
can't
down simply, right?
they can't simplify it.
They can't because
Like make it plain, like
yeah,
Malcolm said. They can't do it. It's
they can't do
impossible.
it. It's impossible, of course, because their
But
belief system is impossible.
it dazzles the you know the people whose native language isn't English.
Well,
It
baffles
dazzles
them.
them.
It
Yeah,
baffles them. It baffles them. Doesn't
yeah,
yeah. It baffles them, right? And so
yeah.
they think that you need, like these Muslims now, they think that you need help from these kuffar to explain to the kuffar what Islam is. Like what? What is
Oh
you
wow.
doing? That's not dawah. It's not dawah. Just stop.
Yeah.
Allah doesn't need your help. Just trust me on this. When you just learn some Quran, even me, I don't know that much, in terms of Islam, but I know enough that the little bit that I know is way better than
Oh,
the
without
yeah,
a doubt.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? And that's just a little bit of knowledge. So what if somebody who has some real knowledge talking to these kuffar about
Oh,
Islam? You know what I mean?
definitely.
Just use some ayat and make them think about these ayat a little bit. That's it. Talk to them, man. You don't only want to quote an ayat. You want to quote all these you know Western philosophers. Walaikum salam, Hassan
Wa alaikum
Abdullah.
assalam wa rahmatullah.
You know what I'm saying? It's just crazy, man. It's madness, bro. You know, but that's what's happening now. So now these youth now they're going out basically studying these what is that, the contingency of Kalam or whatever that that thing.
Yeah, it's the contingency argument. That's what it
Yeah,
is. That
contingency argument.
something needs something else. Like
Yeah,
object A needs object B to exist, or something
yeah,
like
and
that.
they're using these arguments now, right? I mean, it's okay to prove that God exists, no doubt. Like, you know what I mean? You can use it, if
It's
you
it,
understand. But
it's okay
what
as
it is,
it's okay as a theoretical exercise with
yeah.
people that understand it, but you're just using it for dawa.
But
It's
for
like a
dawa, what it is for
disaster.
dawa is it's a parlor trick, and it's not dawa. This
Yeah,
is that's what it is. It's just something like a shiny toy that you play with. You know what I mean? That can break, and it will eventually break if that's your go-to move.
it's gonna go over people's heads too.
It'll go over to people. It goes over to people that they're explaining. It goes over their heads. They don't
Yeah,
understand the
they
argument
don't
themselves.
understand it. They're just parroting
Yeah,
it in
yeah.
hopes that people will catch some
Catch
of it.
it. Yeah, so when I told the brother, I said just leave these ilmul kalam things because this is some old. It's from the time of the old Asha'ira, right? They used to do
Right.
this type of stuff, right? So I said just leave ilmul kalam alone. Just leave that alone and just go directly to the Quran. Believe me, you're gonna help yourself and you're gonna help the people when you're making dawah, right? Because another brother was trying to tell him to go listen to Muhammad Hijab, right? And I told him I didn't tell him don't listen to Muhammad Hijab, right? I didn't say that, right? 'Cause Muhammad Hijab, he's a good debater. He's a very very good debater.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
an amazing debater. But he can do that because he's a good debater. You are not a debater, okay? And if you're making dawah and debating are two different things. Don't confuse the two,
Right.
okay? You like dawah is calling people to Allah. Debating is basically you're trying to get over on your opponent. You're not, you know what I'm saying? You're not. Anyways,
Yeah.
so a lot of people think debating and dawah is the same. They're not the same. They are not the same, right? So, anyways, and then he basically agreed, yeah, because even he himself he didn't understand the argument, but he's gonna stick with the Quran and the Sunnah, inshallah, next time. I was like, yeah, that's better for you, and it's better for your dawah. Like all the Sahaba did it, the Prophet ﷺ, that's what he was doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wasn't until Ilm al-Kalam came that the Salaf started fighting these people when the Jahmiyyah started using Ilm al-Kalam and these type of things.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so, you know what I'm saying? So, but now, I don't know, man. It's a big mess, and it's all because of YouTube and YouTube personalities. It's a crazy mess out there now, man. Like you have all this madness now.
It's
People,
ridiculous.
yeah, it really is, bro. It really is. Like the most despicable types of people are getting these massive platforms.
And the best channels for actual Islamic knowledge have like little to no followers.
Little to no
They're-
followers. Yeah.
They don't get any traffic whatsoever. No one
Yeah.
really is. No one's actually interested in that.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not interested in that. You know what I mean? So that's why I say, like, if I was Thanos and I could get rid of all the Islamic channels on YouTube and just snap my finger, get rid
Shut
I
it
would
down.
do it, man. I would do it straight up. It'll force people to go to the masjid and learn now. You know what I mean? And that's way better than what's happening on social media.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's crazy, and ironically, social media is taking the social aspect out of society.
Yes. Yeah.
You know what I
Definitely.
mean? And it's just brainwashing people, and people start speaking like robots and stuff, man. But yeah. Anyways, go ahead, bro.
There was a time, where, and maybe this still happens in, outside of social media, but there was a time where you were shamed if you didn't, have some basic tools memorized, like have a copy of Hisnul Muslim,
Mhm.
or know a few hadith from
Yeah.
Arba'in and Nawawiyah.
Yeah.
But
Sort of
you know,
Thalatha.
but now, yeah, but now the tools are these types of channels. It's
Yeah.
just such a bizarre contrast.
Mhm.
But Yeah,
Yeah,
and
we're
that's
definitely living in the end days, man, and anybody could now come and just replace a scholar like this. Like it won't even take. I was telling I tell this people all the time, man. If I wanted to be rich today, all I have to do, right, is find some cute white chick with blonde hair and blue eyes. Okay, like straight up.
yeah.
So I go to her, hey, cute white chick, you want to make some money? And you don't have to sell your body, nothing. Like you really, like, seriously, it's like nothing explicit. Like, but you'll be rich. Sure, okay, right. What do I got to do? Okay, let's see. Let me just set up this little studio here for you. I'm gonna put you in front of this camera, okay? And I'm going to put on these Islamic videos. All you're gonna do is react to them.
Subhanallah.
That's
Yeah.
all you're gonna do, okay?
They got a
And then
full
next thing
flock of
you have,
people coming there.
10,000 Arabs and Indo-Paks, thirst.
MashaAllah. MashaAllah.
You know what I mean?
Allah guide you.
Yeah, right. Just do that. You could do that for a month, right? And then you're after a month or so, you're gonna say, oh, guys, oh, sorry, I gotta stay off of YouTube for a week right now. I stubbed my toe. I gotta go to hospital. I need $500, so I gotta go to work. $500?
That's nothing.
I will send you 5,000. 5,000.
Subhanallah.
10,000 Muslim thirst trapping behind this woman. Oh,
Yeah.
sister, I wish you become Muslim and blah 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 blah. And just, even if you become Muslim, just become Muslim private, like quietly. Don't say that you're Muslim, right? Start, and then just, talk about Salaam Alaikum, right? Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, sister. Bro, let me tell you, man.
That's so true.
Rich. I will be like the behind the scenes pimp of YouTube, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? But that's legit. What would happen? Like, that's what's gonna happen, right? You know that, right?
Oh, without a doubt. No, without a doubt.
It's happening right now as we speak.
It happens now. it's amazing.
Yeah.
Non-Muslim white girls reacting to Quran recitation or a video by Mufti Mink or something like that. They're like, oh, mashallah, you're so beautiful. Allah guide you.
Yeah.
Like
Sister,
they get so much attention.
You need anything, email me this, my email.
Allah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's so true. It's really sad.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean that. Anyways, but I've been thinking about it. I won't put my name behind that brand, though.
It would be too easy.
It'll be too easy money, man. Easy money. You know what I'm saying? And nothing haram either. Like, it's like, all you gotta do, right?
Just react.
Just react. That's it. Be cute with your blue eyes and blonde hair. That's it. That's all you're gonna do.
Get the good thumbnails.
My name's Becky. Salaam Alaikum. These guys, man. But that's what it's really. We're in a pathetic state, man. Straight up, bro. It's like
no doubt. Yeah, no doubt about that.
Yeah, it's really pathetic, man. But what can we do, man? Like, for us black folk, like I keep saying, we got to be independent. We gotta be a lot more intelligent, a lot more smart in the way we do things, and just cut these dudes off, man. It's just crazy, man.
I
not really cut them off, but really more like be independent. You know what I mean? And be intelligent in the way that we move.
Just keep your distance and have realistic have a realistic mindset.
Yeah, like know what the game is. Know the reality of the situation. Yeah.
I wanted to say something about the inferiority complex, though. I knew this Pakistani guy I used to work with, and I don't know how we got to the topic, but we were talking about the idea of someone learning Urdu or something for just to kind of talk to Pakistanis or whatever if they wanted to work there.
Mm.
And he just thought it was he couldn't fathom the idea. He thought it was kind of a ridiculous concept. And what he told me was kind of striking. And he was like, he said, you know, he didn't say white, but he said, and it was kind of obvious how he meant it. But he was like, you as a American, you can't come down to me. Like, I have to come up to you.
Yep.
You know, meaning the language. Like, you can't come down to Urdu. I have to come up to your English.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of a profound statement, but you know, I think that's how a lot of them think. I mean,
No,
without a doubt, that's how they think. But it was just amazing to hear it from them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, since you know that the South Asian region, right? Back in those days, before the British and Europeans ended up there, right? It was just known as Hind. It was all known, like all that whole region.
Yeah, of course.
You know, it was just known as Hind, right? So India, Hind. So you're talking about Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Pakistan, whatever. That whole South Asian region was known as Hind. Do you know before white folks ended up there, this is one of the richest regions in the world?
Of course. Yeah, they had it passed through the Silk Road.
Yeah.
In a sense, and there's a lot of resources there. It's a huge place.
Even Bangladesh, as poor as it now, Bangladesh is one of the poorest countries in the world. There was a time where it was one of the richest regions in the world.
Yeah, but no surprise.
You know, and it was Muslims ruling that region for like I think it's like 800 years. I can't remember. Maybe some of the Indo-Pak brothers they know better than me, right? But they're ruling that region for a long time, right? And it was the Muslims were very wealthy, of course, right? And they were running that region. The Mughals were running that region, okay?
Right.
And when they met Europeans and the white people, they wrote this in the literature, right? They said that these people are docile, right? They're submissive, right? And we will have no trouble with these people. These are the only people, okay? They're the only people that the colonizer went to, took them out their country, and put them in a different country, and allowed them to keep their religion.
Yeah.
They're the only people on earth that happened to. Right? Everybody else, they had to become Christian, particularly black people. Okay, but if you look at the First Nations, they had to be Catholic. Black people had to be Christians, right?
They always resisted.
Yeah,
there was always resistance.
Yeah, but these guys, right? They brought them as Hindus and Muslims to the West Indies and South America, and they said, "Yeah, no problem. You can keep your religion. Just watch these black guys for us." And we were good. And they were happy to do that. They were happy to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They were happy to give white folks tea and silk and spices, and you know what I mean? But the time after World War II, $14 trillion worth of resources was extracted from that entire region.
Wow.
You know how much $14 trillion is?
No.
And now they're poor. Now they're poor. You get it? But really, the colonists didn't really have to do much with them, right? You know? And on top of that, in World War I, when they were fighting the Turks, the British were fighting the Turks because the Turks kind of invited themselves. They weren't Turkey at that time. They were the Ottoman Empire, right?
Right.
Where did the British get 2 million soldiers from to fight the Ottoman Turks? The Muslims from that region now know.
Oh, you mean like the Arabs?
No, it wasn't the Saudi Arabs. I'm talking about the Indo-Paks.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, of course you didn't, because all they talk about Saudi all day and night, right? But if you take anybody who does
logistics study,
hobby studying. If you do hobby study, you don't have to go deep. You're gonna see all this stuff. It's like that's.
You can look up like the belligerence of war participants in those types of wars. I just never really looked at that, but that's interesting.
Yeah, man, it's so crazy, man. So they brought these Muslims over to fight the Ottomans, right? And they were happy to do so. And ironically, you never hear any Pakistanis or South Asian talking about their involvement in bringing down the
No, you never hear about it. You always
Yeah.
hear about
And
you only hear about Lawrence in Arabia. And
you only hear a lot about Lawrence in Arabia. And right now in Britain, there's like a memorial for those two. I think it's 200,000. Again, it's a massive number. Let's say 200,000, right? There's 200,000 Pakistanis, what are non-Pakistanis. There's a memorial there in Britain for them. There's no memorial for the Arabs and stuff. Memorial for y'all. You can't make this stuff up, bro. Right? Like it's so crazy, man. It's so crazy, man. I don't know, man. It's just nuts, man. Like what we going through nowadays, bro, is too crazy, man.
Yeah,
Like,
there's a lot going on for sure.
yeah. So we got this. I don't know. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead. I'm talking too much, man. That's just, it's just stuff is like, even though I know this stuff is like, it still blows my mind when I say it out loud. Right?
Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's yeah. I mean, it's bizarre, really.
Yeah.
You know, the stuff that's happening these days. You know, best thing to do is, I mean, you know, stay away from the dramatic dawa sphere on YouTube. You know, by far, no, without a doubt. It's a shame that these people are like the face of Islam and Muslims on social media, because that's the saddest part of it, I guess, because it's deceiving so many people. You know, I have this, you know, there's this guy I know. I've been trying to you know, talk to him about Islam, and he's been making the mistake of watching these people on YouTube. I'm like, no, dude, don't watch that stuff. And he was so interested, you know, at first, but then he started watching people like Ali Dawa and you know, these kind of people, and you know, it's very off-putting, you know, to someone who may have an initial interest in the
but then
deen.
they watch stuff like that.
They watch stuff like that. They watch this dramatic antics, these you know, these drama shows. You know, they start hurling insults. You know, they start talking about. It's just vile. You know.
Yeah, it is.
All the people you've talked about on your channel, too, people like Wedgedy and it's just vile, unclassy stuff.
Yep.
You know, and you know, I try to tell them, you know, don't go there. You know, please don't. No, go to people like Mufti Munir or you know, Abu Talba. Go to these people. You know, but it's given them such a bad taste in their mouth that they're, you know, it's very, you know, it's tough and it's hard to blame them, because you know, the Muslims have done a huge disservice.
Yeah.
They've done more harm than good, and you gotta work harder to, you know, try to tell them, you know, that's just a bunch of social media nonsense, because that's what it is in reality. But you know,
the Muslims are the ones who are consuming this nonsense, right?
But
So
you know, to a non-Muslim, you know, non-Muslims, even though they may not always say it, but they actually have a they view Muslims as though, you know, as some type of moral role model, because they like my mom.
that used to be the case back in the day.
That used to be the case, and it's definitely dwindled now.
Yeah.
But, you
now
know, people
Islam is seen as an ethnic group, and it's not
Yeah.
our fault. It's not our fault. Definitely not our fault. Okay.
No, not at all. It's
yeah. We know whose fault it is. Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
but Muslims used to be seen as like this moral role model, because they knew their beliefs. Non-Muslims knew their beliefs. They knew about people like Malcolm X, who, you know, guided so many people, you know, to Islam, and they know, you know, they know the similarities between that and Christianity, and you know, they just have that ideal view, and then they go on YouTube now and they see these characters, and it just totally destroys it for them.
Yeah.
And, you know, so You know, that's the most sad, the saddest part of the whole thing. The amount of damage they're doing, and they just don't care because it's just like
No, they don't. They don't
it's like
care.
it's like an influencing gig for them.
Exactly.
It's money. They
Exactly.
care more about the money than the damage they're, and they don't even care because, you know, they're Muslim, their families are Muslim. They don't know the damage they're doing to, you know, the converts families. You know,
well,
it's like they just don't care. That's just how it comes off.
Yeah. Well, for us, the particularly the Black grassroots, we can't, in my humble opinion, following up behind these guys is a mistake. We have to get our crap together, right? We really have to focus on our things, right? We really do, because the way that these guys are going, when the crap hits the fan, and it hit the fan. It's hitting the fan right now.
It's already happening.
Yeah, they will side with the enemy against us. They will do that. You understand?
They're already doing it.
They've been doing it for a better part of 300 years anyway. So, you know what I mean? So we're the ones who have to be, you know, getting closer to Allah. And, you know, in Islam, the goal is to get to Jannah, right? So how do you get to Jannah? That's like the question, right? How do you do that, right? So Allah, He's laid it out very, very clear in the Quran and the Sunnah how to get to Jannah, right? We're living in a time, right, where the fitna and the obstacles before us is more than any other time in history. You understand? So that means that we have to put our trust and our faith in Allah so much, right? And in what He has revealed, and understand that this right here is the only solution for our problems. The quicker we get that, right? And the quicker we understand that, the quicker more people become Muslims, and the quicker we're gonna solve our issues. You get it? But like, if we're not on that, then we can't be worried about some other people, right, who are weaponizing racism and calling it Islam.
Yeah.
We can't be worried about that because Allah is our protector. Allah is our wakil. You know, so we have to take it more. We have to take the Quran and Sunnah more seriously than the enemy. We can't have the enemy outworking us, you know, making ibadah more ibadah than us. You know what I mean? We can't have the enemy doing all this kind of stuff, right? And then we out here losing all the time. If you know the winning solution is the Quran and the Sunnah, stick to that. And the people will be drawn to it naturally. Like you were saying, back in the day, Islam used to be seen as this type of moral, what you would call it, like
superiority, like
moral superiority, right, or moral authority for the people, right, and something to be looked up to. Right now, it's a cultural group. What's a Muslim in our time? A Muslim in our time is some brown
Indo-Pak or Arab,
yeah, with a hijab.
Yep.
And that's pretty much it. You know what I mean? That's what a Muslim is.
Yeah, so ridiculous.
You get it? Yeah, these weak people trying to assimilate into the dominant society, right? Let them assimilate if that's what they want. They're going to destroy themselves. Let them assimilate if that's what they want. You know, we can't be worried about them.
Right.
You know, what we're gonna do is force them and beg them not to assimilate. If they want to do that, let them do that. We have to be worried about ourselves, man.
For sure.
Yeah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Abu Bara, what you got for us, bro?
I was late, so I had to preview some of what things you said before. Look at the topic. You know, since your last video about Daniel and the far right agenda with some of the Muslims, you know, I have got a lot of bad feedback from African American Muslims.
What they saying?
You crazy, you guys don't know what you're talking about, you're like you're wasting your time with that. You know, and guess what? Who are they? They're not the Sufi Muslims, not the African Americans or Sufi.
Mm.
They're all the Salafi brothers.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
They're not the ones who following Salafi pubs either.
Mm-hmm.
They're not them.
Mm-hmm.
It's this the general ones who they're saying, "Oh, you guys are wasting your time," and all of them black.
Yeah. Yeah.
Black.
This is
So
disease.
ridiculous.
This is a disease.
And then they're the same brother. I look on their Facebook page. They're talking about injustice for black people and all these things.
Mm-mm.
But when they look at Daniel,
Mm-hmm.
oh no, brother, you're wrong. You're wrong. I show what George Floyd. He said about George Floyd.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're wrong. You mean you feel the same way?
Mm-hmm.
How you going to criticize police and police brutality and what's going on in America between the government and whites and blacks? You're against that, but it's okay when a Muslim do it and he's white. It's okay.
Mm-mm. You see, in this particular situation right here with the George Floyd, right? There is no difference of opinion here, because the whole world watched that video, 9 minutes of Derek Chauvin with his knee on George Floyd's neck, right, sucking the life out of him until he eventually died. Okay, while with his hands in his pocket, mind you, doing all of this. The whole world watched that. The majority of the protesters were white. The vast, not even like close, the vast majority of the protesters were white. It was an international protest, had nothing to do with Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
Okay. The Black Lives Matter had nothing to do with these protests. As a matter of fact, Black Lives Matter didn't put on an official protest until about 3 months after the George Floyd protest. And it was some black tranny stuff in New York where all these trannies were wearing white and stuff. That's what they did, right?
Yeah.
So when these guys come and they say it's a Black Lives Matters thing and George Floyd, he died of a drug overdose, and they don't even look at the murderer, the killer. They have nothing to say about him. You understand? How do you skip that part and blame the victim and exonerate? Don't even mention the victimizer here. How do you do that and not say it's racism? How do you reach that point? It's because of this inherent self-hatred that black people have. You understand? And self-hatred has been not only fostered but nurtured by these so-called Salafis in the West, where Salafis have been beaten with the Salafi stick. Don't talk about black issues, or you're going to be a black nationalist, as you always say, right? Don't talk about black issues, you're going to be a black nationalist, right? So
first thing they taught me, actually, back in the day.
So psychologically, when you start defending the oppressed, which happen to be black people, right? They instantly, something clicks in their mind and says, no, we can't defend black people. We have to defend the person who is speaking against black people. This is not something new with the diaspora. This is something that's coming all the way back from slavery times, right? If you know about meritorious manumission, you guys know what meritorious manumission is?
No, I'm not sure.
Okay, so meritorious manumission was a government-sanctioned reward program for black slaves for 3 reasons, okay? Either you made an invention that benefited your slave master, you saved your slave master's life, or you snitched on the other slaves who were escaping or rebelling against the slave master. If you did one of these 3 things, then you would get what is known as meritorious manumission. If you did, you would meritoriously be manumitted from your slave condition. You'll be freed. You understand? So now, when the rebellious slave is calling out these wicked devils in thobes and kufis and beards and calling them for what they are, white supremacists, you have the meritorious manumission Negro in his white thobe talking about, oh, you crazy. Because he wants to get the Scooby snacks and the biscuits and the fried chicken from Zaddy and Massa and them. He's not looking for anything independent for black people. He wants to be with his zaddy. You get it? He wants to be with the Arabs, the white folk, the Pakistanis. He wants to be with them. He can't see anything for himself independently. He can't see like that. This is a deficiency in intellect. It's a deficiency in psychology, and it's a deficiency in Iman itself, in the faith of Allah itself. You know, where you put all your trust and all your marbles in another human being. Allah says in the Quran, do not fear them, but fear me. If you had more fear of Allah and less fear of the enemy, right, then you would speak about the enemy like how they should be spoken about. What kind of human being watches that 9-minute video, doesn't have anything to say about the killer in the video, and blames the victim of the murder of the video for his own murder? Who does that? George Floyd, was his hand was he handcuffed with his hands behind the back?
Yeah.
That happened, right?
Yeah.
Derek Chauvin has his knee on his neck, right? For 9 minutes, right? With his pockets in his hands in his pocket, right? Derek Chauvin. Not only that, when George Floyd completely passed out, he still kept.
He still had it. Yeah.
And who do you blame? Not even the racist court system. Mind you, the U.S. court system is racist. Okay? They said, they said, no, this is too racist for us. They even said it. And you mean to tell me that you, with your nappy head and your black skin and your big lips and your big broad nose, can't tell the world that Daniel Haqiqatjou has sided with white supremacy on this issue? You can't say it? And it's staring you right there in your face? There's nothing wrong with me. I'm not the one who's crazy. You're the one who's crazy. Let's take it to Allah and Yom Qiyamah. Let's do that. If you believe in what you're saying, that we're crazy, let's take it to Allah and Yom Qiyamah then. You're so sure that we're crazy.
You know, I think they truly believe that Daniel is like winning some debates or winning something. I mean, that guy, what is he winning? Actually, what is he doing? They feel like he is like a mouthpiece. He's a mouthpiece for Muslims where?
Yeah.
Where you trying to get in? Where you trying to fit in?
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't talk about Deen.
Mm.
I never hear him recite Quran. I never heard him recite an ayat from Quran.
Me neither.
I never heard him recite hadith. I never hear no Arabic, no Quran, no nothing from him. So what's so great about him? Because he's in spaces where the Muslims shouldn't be at.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys want to be in these spaces with the disbelievers because they're white.
Mm-hmm.
And you feel that, you know, you're letting them know you have the same feelings with them. You want to tell the white nationalists, yeah, I don't like gays.
Yeah.
I don't like black, I don't like CRT. I mean,
that's what they're uniting on. They're uniting on that stuff.
It has nothing to do with Tawheed, nothing to do with Quran, nothing to do with some, nothing, not even moral issues. This LGBTQ thing, right?
Hatred of LGBTQ,
yeah,
CRT, liberalism,
exactly.
Feminism. They're just uniting on that.
That's it.
They're uniting with Daniel and some other clowns. They united with these red pillars and Rolo Tomasi. They did a conference video, literally like talking about how can society, how can we as men defend against the onslaught of the gynocentric onslaught of society. They literally united on that. It was the most bizarre.
This is
thing.
all gassed up, right? Number one, right? It's white folks that made feminism in order to make sure that black folks couldn't vote and couldn't own property. The white woman didn't want black people to vote before the white woman could. You understand? That's what feminism is about. Feminism is about you, black people, and you're out here fighting white people's war for what? Ain't got nothing.
You know, the feminists wanted rights before black people. They was against black people rights. If you read the books, the feminists, the leaders, I'm trying to think her name. She was against black rights. She said that white women, being white, she should have these rights before black slaves should have these rights. Especially when blacks got emancipated and things like that. She also said that it was better for a black woman to marry, instead of her marrying a black man, it's better for her to marry an educated slave master, or to get with the educated slave master. That was her statement. I think her name.
Susan B.
You know,
Anthony.
not Susan B. Anthony. It's another name. Stallion. I can't think of her whole name. But the point I want to make with Daniel and the people, his followers, at the end of the day, where are you guys trying to go with that message? What corners are you trying to get into? You had to put a little psychology into this. And what it appears to me is that this is the attempt for some of the immigrant Muslim community to find a space for themselves. And just in case if the Republicans get power or the Democrats get power, you know, Daniel, I don't understand his point of view with the white nationalists, because Donald Trump, when he first got in office, the first people he attacked were the immigrant Muslim community.
Daniel wrote an article about that, and he said this is good for Muslims.
You know,
he defended
it.
The Muslim ban.
Yeah, he defended the Muslim ban, and now you got Muslims out here talking about defending the Muslim ban and stuff. Like y'all are like just
eat it up.
Slow as molasses, man. Like straight up, so slow. Like you will side with the enemy because Daniel Haqiqatjou said to side with the enemy. Like you really that slow? Where's your Quran and Sunnah in this? How do you defend something like this with the Quran and Sunnah? I want to see it, please. Any hadith, any ayat from the Quran, please. How do you do it? How do you do it?
And then, you know, another thing on top of that, right? You know, we don't need Daniel to talk about LBGQT and all this stuff. We already have that from our religion. We don't need Daniel. And Daniel does not. I want to make it very clear. Because, you know, you have some of the Muslims have issues here in understanding. You know, Daniel critique on the LBGQT agenda is not from Quran and Sunnah.
No, it's not.
No.
Nothing from it. He disliked them, right? But I noticed the way he critiques them is nothing from Quran and Sunnah. Because at the end of the day, we want to invite them to the correct way of life. Tawheed, number one. And to the issues that they fall into is what marriage, some of the Islamic solutions. Daniel does not have this. I don't see a Daniel approaching this. The feminists, for example. Josh, I don't want to cut you off. What you were saying?
I was just gonna say you're absolutely right. That's the most ironic part, because the da'wah of Lut alayhi salam was that of inviting his people, you know, in spite of their lifestyle. He tried his best to invite them. Daniel calls them degenerates and, you know, low lives, and he uses this nasty language, just totally criticizing them and joking about throwing them off cliffs and all this stuff.
And historically, Islamic scholarship has never done that. That's something explicit to Christian scholarship about homosexuality. That's the verbiage that they've always historically used. You understand? But Muslims never use that type of language. We use the language of the Quran and something like, this is a sin, blah, 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 blah. If you're struggling with this, then do this, fast, whatever. Like whatever the ulama are saying about this type of issue, right? They're looking for solutions to the problem. You understand?
And then Daniel, he doesn't really, in my personal opinion, just reading his work and listening to him, Daniel has one issue that people are not concerned about and should be concerned. Daniel, he moves from groups to groups. Daniel was first with the Yakin Institute and he left. So now you hear him with the white nationalists, and you see him in the channels with them, and you see him in talking with them and having discussions. Like you said before, Josh, another previous video, he's not even debating them. He's having like casual conversation.
Yeah, his nicest conversations are with these people. I mean, he gets these heated debates with apostate prophet, and you know, people with he's talked with Rollo Tomasi and Roosh and that what's it, Mark, that cordial discussions, like because they believe the same.
What are you going to talk to Rollo Tomasi about, like as a Muslim, like really, what are you going to talk to him about?
So I think Daniel's just bitter because he was on the far left with Yakin Institute. According to him, Yakin Institute's left. He was with them, and then now he's going too far right. And then those YouTubers, the Muslim YouTubers who are with him, like the Deen Show, I was very shocked when I seen on the Deen Show. What's that guy? Peterson? What's that guy? The Christian guy? Yeah. You know, I heard some. They may have some alleged that he's gay and stuff now, right? And some people came out and exposed him. I don't know if it's true or not. But when I see him on his show, Deen Show, and he told them we have a lot of things in common. I'm like,
what things?
This guy's with white nationalists. This guy is a black guy who's with white nationalists, and they promote him.
Yeah, you're talking about Clayton Bigsby. You know what I'm saying? You're talking about Uncle
Eddie,
Ruckus.
Eddie,
Ruckus. You know Clayton Bigsby, Uncle Ruckus?
Yeah. But Eddie told Jesse Lee Peterson that they have a lot of things in common.
Yeah, on the Deen Show. And then it was a non-Muslim white, and there was a non-Muslim white woman who commented on the Deen Show video, how are you inviting this guy on your show? This guy is like, he have a lot of self-hate. He's black, and he's anti-black.
It's pure poison.
And you have a non-Muslim woman. She was a Caucasian woman. She was saying that, yo, how you invite somebody like this?
Yeah, he could have invited anybody of repute.
Anybody.
Yeah, of somebody of good standing, but there's obviously a method and a reason why out of all the people in the dunya, he found Jesse Lee Peterson, right, to put on his show. Because the people don't make no mistake about it. Don't make no qualms about it. We know what it is.
So when the white nationalist has that algorithm on YouTube, and that where the algorithm is at, the Muslims going to go to that algorithm. And I'm like, the Deen Show, I was very shocked to see Eddie, doing this, especially Sag, Lip Hand. I'm very shocked, The thing about Sag where I dislike the most is that black people really propped up his YouTube channel in the beginning.
Yeah.
He got popular on
they
YouTube.
They still do. We had Uncle Ruckus' nephew on the show last year, defending Sag to the bone, bro. You know what I'm saying? He's like, he was talking about, those black people that are being kidnapped and enslaved and forced into prostitution in Africa. It's not because of racism. Wallah, he said that. Uqsum Billah, he said that on the show, bro. You think it's jokes out in these streets, bro? You know what I mean? It's like, it's really real. Like the mind control and the mind manipulation is really real with these algorithms and these YouTube channels, man.
There's a saying, right, with certain black psychologists and black thinkers who deal with black social issues. One of their things that they notice is that you have two different white people, right? Sometimes you have a white person who is passive racist. You might have some racist bias with him, some anti-black sentiment with him, but he doesn't realize it. But when he gets with the outright racist who is white racist who hate blacks, it's like the passive racists start connecting with the actors racist. And I noticed that now with Sag Lip Hand, the way his channel changed is going towards the same medium as Daniel. Same thing with the Deen Show, Eddie. It's leaning towards the same way as Daniel. And it's like, for Sag, you're a graduate from Islamic University of Medina. How are you following this guy who has no Islamic training at all? And it goes back to some of them statements of some black thinkers who said sometimes the white person who's a passive racist don't know that he has black anti-sentiment. When he get with the outright racist white guy, he automatically joins with him. That the aggressive racist, he can easily persuade him. And you see this with Sag and these brothers.
Well, Dr. Claude Anderson, right? He has this book called Powernomics, right? And he wrote in this book, right? It was one of the most profound statements that I heard in a long time, right? Where he wrote that yeah, there you go. That's the book. So yeah, so it'd be the second chapter if you haven't read it yet. Right? So he said that white people have had the most white Europeans have had the most vicious brutal wars against each other. You understand? But they will forget all of their differences to come together against the darker skinned peoples of the earth. They are very racially aware and astute. You understand? And because of this racial awareness, they are able to drop everything, all their differences, to unite in order to come against the darker skinned people of the earth, right? And this is what we see right now happening on YouTube. This is what we see what happening right now, right? So, and they're not even shy about it either. They're like they have no and again, a lot of the things that are happening right now, it's because black people again remained silent. They didn't speak when they were supposed to speak, and when they were supposed to speak, and when they weren't supposed to speak, they were speaking. You get it? Everything ass backwards with black people. And now you're in this situation where they can take 3 of the top black elite scholars and put them on a flyer next to Daniel Haqiqatjou, literally beside Daniel Haqiqatjou.
He's above him.
And he's above them. You know what I mean?
You know, I like to break that down also. You know, there's another aspect to that. You know, unfortunately, you know, I am a product of the Salafi community from the early 2000s. And, you know, alhamdulillah, Allah blessed me to go live in the Muslim land and study Islam with real scholars. There's a big difference between the scholars in America and the way they do dawah different from the Muslim country. All right. The way that I see how dawah is now in America, especially amongst the indigenous people of America, whether you black or white or Latino, one of the approaches that they do that needs to change is that they only preach. See, they are mimicking what they do in the Muslim world, but we forget in the Muslim world, the government, the scholars and people, they did a lot of work for centuries to get where they at. You got me? They did a lot of work. It wasn't just restricted to the masjid. So I noticed something. A lot of the callers of Islam that I see today, they're just, I don't even think they really know what's going on out there. They don't know what's going out. They don't know what's going on the internet too much. They might not be too aware. They might be having their own programs where they have to, like you said before, have to make commitments and stuff like this. So this is why they do these type of programs, because they have to make commitments, and they might have their own thing. Some of them have their own schools, own program, and this is a good way to give dawah and promote what they're doing at the same time, right? But see, I have problems with this, and I have a problem with when you see people like Abu Osama Dahabi, because Abu Osama Dahabi has came out on YouTube, on the internet, and he said he's a Pan-African. You have many videos. He say this. You have a video and explain where some part of being Pan-African is acceptable in Islam and some part is not. And he can say he is a Pan-African and he's for black people's struggles in America. And he always talk about experience. Once he said that, in my ears, in my eyes, he should know better about Daniel.
Well, this right here is a different thing, because it's obvious that Sheikh Abu Osama doesn't know about Daniel. Right, and it's clear, especially with my talkings with him. I talked to him behind the scenes. He doesn't know about Daniel, and of course, he's not going to know about Daniel. He's an imam in UK, right? And imams generally they don't go on YouTube like that. That's
he does it. I know he does. He says all the time. He don't run his social media. He says all the time. He don't run his social media.
None of them do. None of these imams that you see, they don't run their own YouTube channels. They have other people doing that.
They don't have the time.
How are they going to have time for that? You know what I'm saying? That's something that we hear in the bottom that because we have time, right? And the youth, they have way too much time, and like too much, right? But anyways, the phenomenon with the imam staying in the masjid and kind of preaching inside the masjid, this is a fairly new phenomenon because it wasn't like that in the 90s. In the 90s, it was a very hardcore grassroots, and all of this keeping the imams in the masjid stuff, this is by design. We have to understand this concept. This is not something that's accidental or something that just happened organically. This is all by design, right? And it all happened, started to happen after 2001, after 9/11, okay? Where we started seeing that the governments, both the Canadian, the UK and the American, all three of these governments, Western governments in general, started arbitrarily cracking down on masajid, okay? You're talking about Daniel Haqiqatjou talking about LGBTQ and stuff like that. Before that, we had Dr. Abdul Hakim Quick. We've been talking about this issue from before Daniel Haqiqatjou was even born. Okay, I can't remember a time, right, when Sheikh Abdul Hakim Quick was in Toronto, where he would always give, he would always give this subject attention way back in those days. You understand? And who came after Dr. Abdul Hakim Quick for talking about that? The government. They came after him and was put in the newspapers and everything. You understand? Now, Daniel Haqiqatjou, right, is basically talking about the stuff with impunity. He's been gaining notoriety from overstepping and getting blacklisted from these social media platforms, right? Because he habitually oversteps and habitually goes too far. And then when he gets blacklisted, he plays victim. Oh, look at, they're trying to censor free speech. You know what I mean? And then black people listening to the enemy, what they say about their imams, like the enemy is going to say anything good about our imams, and then basically pushing that forward. And even if your imam makes a mistake, you as a black person have to know that the mistakes within the black community are always and forever will be leveraged against the black community. So what should you do in this situation? You have to stay on code. Our code is from the Quran and the Sunnah. The Prophet ﷺ, he always said, if you want Allah to hide your mistakes on Yawm al-Qiyamah, hide the mistakes of your brother. We don't do that. We are the first people to blast our own scholarship. And then we wonder where they at when they're gone. We chase them out. That's our fault. So now we say, particularly on this channel, those days of blasting our own are finished. We had enough of that, right? And instead, we're going to attack the enemy directly and head on. Like it or like it, hate it or hate it. That's our policy here. You get it? We don't do that stuff anymore. We don't. We destroyed ourselves enough. Now it's time to stay on code. And the code is the moral code, the cultural code, the the code of conduct. All this comes directly from the Quran and Sunnah. Is right there. It is right there. You don't need anything after that.
I think one thing about this internet or the online lectures, I notice I do browse a lot of the speakers who are popular on YouTube, even the ones who have knowledge. I notice they don't there's not a lot of hits and views. I think I think we are losing our place in how knowledge should be given out. I think there's too much restriction to just the YouTube and a lot of talking. I was watching a video.
Let's be very clear. You are not going to get knowledge on YouTube. Anybody who thinks you're going to get knowledge on YouTube is fooling themselves. Nobody goes to YouTube and says, you know what? I'm going to be a half of the Quran. Let me go to YouTube now.
But the things that are given to them on YouTube.
Yeah.
Like when people listen to Daniel, I try to, I study Islamic psychology and some psychology. So I gotta look at it from a different point. When people go to listen to Daniel, why? That's one of the questions I gotta ask myself. Why are they listening to him, what they like him? So he does have a message. He does. It's a little bit entertaining. He's intellectual. He knows how to talk, and he has that Harvard degree with him. Correct?
Yeah,
so
he's riding that all to the bank.
Right. So he's like, in some sense, he's refuting Eurocentric thinking or philosophy or academics, and at the same time embracing it and using it himself. Because
all he's doing is he labels liberalism as Western ideology, but he uses Western ideology to refute his own. You see what I'm saying?
It's the most
he legit
ironic
does that.
thing.
He legit does that, right? So instead of calling what he's doing what it is, which is Western ideology, right? If you're conservative, you are a Western idealist, right? He don't call it that. He calls it whatchamacallit, Islamic principles, without quoting anything from Quran and Sunnah, right? So now he brings in every single alt-right talking point. Not a single one he doesn't like. Not one. Not one. Including the Muslim ban people. Right? He likes them. That's a, you know what I'm saying? You know there's not one he don't like if he includes the Muslim ban in the things that he likes, okay? And then he blankets it by saying, oh, this is Islamic, you know? And because the Muslims themselves, I'm sorry to say, is particularly not the black folk, it was the Eastern Muslims who put themselves in this situation where they are the ones who accepted liberal politics. They are the ones who built these organizations built upon a liberal ideology. They are the ones who ordered their people to vote liberal for 3 solid decades. 3 solid decades. And now you have to eat the crap that you produced. Here comes Daniel Haqiqatjou saying alt-right's the way, and Muslims are eating that up now. You get it? So, anyways, it's just it's a big game, right?
You know, I had a friend of mine. Listen, I had a friend of mine. He's an old school brother, man. He's a couple of years older than me. You know, he told me a lot of things when I first came to the Deen about the different history of African American Muslims from different points. You know, he liked Daniel. He watched all these YouTubers. He loved Muhammad Hijab and he loved Daniel Haqiqatjou, right? And my man, he black, he biracial. Actually, he's biracial, right? So but his mom's black, so he a Negro to me. He a Negro. His mom's black, right? So I showed him your video. No, I showed him your video because he's way older than me. He loved Daniel, and I showed him the clips from Daniel Telegram. You know what my friend said? He said, "Yo, this guy is kicking all right politics." But he said, he knew what he told me. He said, but at the end of the day, what's his end game? What is his end game? At the end of the day, he doesn't have an end game. He said he's not calling to Tawheed. He's not calling the Muslim to anything related to the Deen. He said, what is his point in the end of the day? And I said to him, how long you been listening to this guy? He said, for years. I mean, for a while. And now he just noticed these things. I'll let the other brother speak.
Abu Sufyan, Salaam Alaikum.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. What you got for us, bro?
Nothing. I'm just happy to be here.
Hayakumullah. Everything's good.
And now I tried to, but now I'm back in Michigan.
Mashallah, mashallah. Yeah, yeah. So we're out here. We were. I mean, this is like a light session tonight. It's nothing like my regular sessions. Like it says late night.
No, I know. It's lightly smoky, just a little smoky.
Yeah, just a little smoky.
Light roast.
But light roast. Just a light roast. Yeah.
No slow cook.
Yeah, slow cook light roast. You know, lightly roasted coffee today. You know, so. Nothing too big, but we're just putting out the receipts out there. We're showing the people, you know, and basically with showing the trend that is happening with all these particular YouTube personalities, big YouTube personalities, who are just racist, alt-righters, you know. And why are people surprised? Like, I don't get why people are surprised. Why would anybody be surprised about this?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I've come to this reality after traveling extensively, and this is just my personal conclusion: is that anytime you get away from the grassroots, which is what your platform's all about, what ends up happening is you start fighting for something other than Islam.
Yep.
And so that's really the issue. So to me, everyone here knows that I'm, or maybe not everyone, but people here know that I'm Persian, right? So like ethnicity, probably similar in culture. Obviously, and Daniel knows this too. I mean, we disagree on a lot, but I want people to see like the root of the issue first, and that's the foundation. And it's not really, to me, it's not just alt-right. Like, I hate to be that guy, but that's just the guy I have to be right now. We're just not grassroots as a global dawa, especially, but even in the U.S. or even in North America. So, just real quick before I pass the mic back, I couldn't even get into Canada for long enough to come and see you. Okay, that's how bad the situation is, and there's not enough support. Like, there used to be Ikhwan, like back in the so-called good old days, Ikhwan al-Muslimin would come to your rescue. Now it's not even that. It doesn't even matter what color I am. All that matters is that I'm trying to do dawah in a way that doesn't generate revenue.
Yeah.
That's really the only thing. So, but yeah, I really appreciate the brothers who are here. Just look, even if we don't agree, at least you're honest, and that's worth way more nowadays than anything else.
Jazakallah khair. Jazakallah khair. Yep. And what you're saying about the grassroots, as I was saying before, this was a systemic situation. You understand? In order to end the grassroots. You get it? It was something that didn't happen overnight. You know, it's something that took years and years and years until the grassroots was finally finished. Right? And on top of that, what you have now is an entire generation of youth who have been given devices and laptops, and instead of talking to people one-on-one or talking to their imams or their masjid or whatever, they don't have to do that. They don't have to do any work. They just go on YouTube and type in a search, right? And any nefarious person can give them any type of retarded information and will just eat it up. You understand? And you'll notice, I've personally noticed, because I'm an old guy now, right? I'm an old guy. I notice a incredible difference between the way that this generation that they speak as compared to my generation, right? This generation, just the way that they speak and their mannerisms, it's like they all have ADHD. You know what I mean? They can't pay attention. They can't stick to a topic, right? They're all over the place, right? And they make the most retarded, ridiculous points because they watched like 100 hours of debates in a month. Yep. So they start speaking like they're the people that they see debating, and they sound ridiculous, right? They don't know how to. They can't. They just sound like something's wrong with them. You know what I mean? They sound crazy. You know what I mean? So it's a really dire situation.
I'll tell you one thing before I hop back on YouTube. I think even like I see it in myself. Like I'm not even 30 years old yet, but I see it in myself. Like this weird, like you listen to someone like Sheikh, I forgot his first name, Abdurrahman Quick, somebody like him or somebody. Yeah, so somebody like that who like is from the original du'at, like the real du'at. I don't name drop. Like if I did, I'd say Siraj Wahaj, but I don't want to name drop. You look at someone like that, and then you look at like the slow evolution into what we have now, and then you have people like me who, despite having like real degrees in like secular fields, learn way more from some trash like Joe Rogan podcasts or like some absolute filth. Okay, and that's all of that infiltrates the dawa. It just osmosis is right in. Haqiqatjou, inshallah, I'm traveling, so I'm just gonna eat a banana and go hit the hay. Jazakumullah khairan.
Haqiqatjou. Yep. Okay, bro. So yeah, it's getting late, man. Maybe I should call it a night. I don't know if maybe I'll leave this podcast up for like maybe a day or so and then take it down. Right, but yeah, because I know it's going to be too much for some people, man. If they watch it, people are going to lose their friggin' minds, man. Straight up, man. You know. So we got to do something like this, but in a proper way, right? Right, because you know how people are, man. And anyways,
you know, somebody attacked me the other day on Twitter. Where I post, I think the picture of Daniel talking about George Floyd, and somebody said to me, a Muslim, he said, "Oh man, why this? I'm Muslim first and black second." And I'm like, no one said this. Why would you say this, right? But I showed them a hadith where the Messenger of Allah is intermediate. When he said he's talking to Bilal, and he said Bilal, he's seen him in a dream, and the Prophet said, he was by this castle, the castle. And he asked one of the persons out around this castle. He said, "Who's owned this castle? Who's this castle for? This is supposed to be in Jannah." He said, "This is for a man from the Arab." And the Prophet said, "Ana Arabi." The Prophet said, "I am an Arab." Then he said, "The person is from Quraysh." And the Prophet said, "Ana Qurayshi." You got me? So I respond with this hadith to this person. I'm like, even the Prophet recognized his nationality and his race.
Exactly.
And just for the people, the haters, the hadith is Hassan.
Yep. Only black people running around like with this
Muslim first, black second.
Yeah, it's only black people, right? Because black people, because of our trauma through slavery, the slave masters made sure that the slave had to identify his entire existence with his master. They made sure of that. You understand? We out here, okay, we have these names, right? My name, Colin, right? Where did I get this name? It's not a name from Africa. It's a slave master's name. You understand? We're speaking English. That's not our language. That's a slave master's language, right? What religion did we come up from? We were Christian. Who are worshiping that white hippie dude on a cross and stuff? That long hair and that skinny, skinny dude. We are identifying our entire existence with the slave master. In the 60s, when black people were trying to get their rights, it turned into a social integration civil rights thing, right? Who promoted it? It wasn't a natural black grassroots thing, because remember, and it was the Watts riots that really kind of pushed it, right? But the enemy was the one who was pushing social integration, and the enemy was the one who was pushing civil rights. Why? Malcolm X went to Africa. He went to Saudi Arabia because he wanted to bring a case against America for what? Who knows? Somebody put in it, or even one of you brothers, tell me, what did he want to bring a case against America for? He wanted to build a case against America for what? Was it civil rights? What was it? What was it?
Human rights.
Human rights. Human rights. He was trying to build a case against the United States of America in front of the whatchamacallit. What was it called? The World
United Nations.
United Nations for human rights. and shortly after, that's when he was assassinated. Okay? He was way ahead of his time. He wasn't trying to integrate with the enemy. You get it?
Not at all. Yeah.
Only black people try to see their reality at the foot of some other people somewhere. All right? So when we were Christians, we saw our reality at the foot of white Jesus, white angels, white priests, whatever. Now we become Muslims. Who do we see our reality at the feet of? Somebody say it. Somebody say it, please.
We say that again, bro. Sorry.
Who do we see our reality from? When we were Christian, we saw our reality at the feet of white Jesus, white angels, white Mary, white people, white, you know.
Oh,
our
yeah.
entire existence was based upon their reality. Now we become Muslims. Who do we see our reality at the feet of?
White people still.
White people still. But after we became Muslim, right? Who were the ones that were in our communities? Thank you. MG got it. MG got it.
What MG say, the Arabs, yeah.
Gotta be the Arabs. Have to be the Arabs. Even black people, I gotta admit, I'm guilty of this myself. Black people who speak English perfectly will start mimicking an Arabic accent in English.
Like the
sound like an Arab.
Like the intonation. Yeah, it's the most bizarre thing. They'll like mimic the intonation that they speak in Arabic.
Exactly. We're not even speaking Arabic. We're speaking English, but we're speaking English in an Arabic accent. Why do you think we do that?
Because I see that as the example.
Exactly.
As the role model.
As the role
that's
model.
Not you can still talk how you talk. You don't have to do all that.
Yeah, exactly. It's a psychological thing. You get me? You know, so we're psychologically we see ourselves as inferior. You know, so it's.
But I have a question.
Go ahead.
I have a question. How many white nationalists has Daniel turned over to be Muslim to Shahada?
None. Come on, man. How many people has he given Shahada?
A big zero.
Have you ever seen Haqiqatjou make dawa and give anybody Shahada ever?
Zero.
I see him on a lot of these podcasts, and I wonder how many people have he convinced from the white nationalists, because he's very kind and nice to them when he talks to them.
Listen, Daniel Haqiqatjou has never, ever convinced a white nationalist to be Muslim. But he convinced a hell of a lot of Muslims to become white nationalists.
Yep. That's what he's doing.
That's what he's doing.
Yeah.
He did this. He said this thing one time, a long time. I can't remember when he said it, but he tried to make memes and like his cringy, sarcastic meme practice. He tried to make that akin to the Arabs at the time of the beginning of Islam with their poetry. He tried to say, you can use these types of expressions to, call to people, and this type of meme culture is a way of doing that.
He only got that meme culture because that's how the alt-right became
he's,
existence through memes.
Yeah, these 4chan style memes and this cringy sarcasm. I don't even get how it's only appealing to incels and like that type of culture. But
he does come across like an incel anyway.
He's literally I don't know how he's married, but he's literally like, he reminds me of, I don't know if you know who Alec Manassian is or Elliot Rodger, but they were these big incels who committed these like murders. He talks just like those people. He says the same stuff, talks the same way, and he's even sympathized with incels. He sympathizes with it because liberalism is disintegrating society or whatever. So he sympathizes with them.
You know who Daniel remind me of? you had on Features, did a show on Features before about that white guy who was with Huda channel who left Islam.
Yeah.
You remember this?
Yeah, Musa Sorrentino. Yeah, Trinitarian.
Yeah. You know, Daniel is a little bit similar to this guy. I personally think Daniel, what he's doing is moving from movement to movement to movement. That's all I see. I don't see him with any consistency. You got me?
There's no consistency with him at all. I mean, other
Well,
than his alt-right stuff.
again, alt-righters, they're not really like if you look at how do I put this, man? You ever read this book called The Crowd by what's his name? A French author. Oh man, what's his name is on the tip of my tongue, man. Something. Let me try to get the book up, man. But anyways, he writes in his book, The Crowd, that because he wrote this in 1895, right?
I know what book you're talking about.
Yeah, it's a French philosopher, right? What's his name again, man? His name's on the tip. I always forget his name, man. On the tip of my tongue. There we go. His name is Gustave Le Bon. Yeah, that's him. Right?
Yeah.
Right. So he wrote this at the 1895. This book, right? And it's essentially outlining the switch between the old style of governance to the new style of governance. So the old style, which is you have your monarchies, you have your empires, you have your aristocratic elite, right? And the new style, which is democracy. You have your democracy coming up. You know, you have your what you call it, your communism coming up. You know, but this is actually before, you know, these systems were giving these names, obviously, right? But he's seeing the shift now. He's like way ahead of his time. He's a white supremacist, but you know, he's a genius mind, right? He is, you know. Right. So he writes in his book, right, because he's seeing all this happening, right, and he's going, you know, and the new style of leadership, right? It's this 1895 is writing this right now. Is no longer that of the monarchs and the kings and whatever, but rather if you appeal to the aristocrats, then you're going to lose your power. What you have to do is you have to appeal to the crowd, right? This is where when you're saying Daniel Haqiqatjou is not rational, right? I'm tying all this in, right? The alt-right, they're not there to be rational, okay? They're there to appeal to a certain type of people and get them riled up so that those people can actually usurp power. And I believe that they will anyways. I believe that they will, because the alt-right, the ultra-conservative, is the actual power in the United States. You're talking about the old slave money, you know, the slave, what you would call it?
The old money.
Yeah, the plantation money, those plantations that turned into these massive corporations like IBM and these
car companies.
You know what I mean, right? You're talking this old money. These are the ultra conservative types, right? They actually believe that they're superior because they are white. They believe that, okay? They believe, and so to appeal to the crowd, this is what Gustave Le Bon wrote. He goes, to appeal to the crowd, you do not tell them the truth. You tell them what they want to hear. And as long as the person is telling the people what they want to hear, they will always be able to control the crowd. And if you control the crowd, you'll be able to control the power. You get it?
Yep.
That's what the alt-right is. So what do the alt-righters want to hear? They want to hear that, you know, white people are the victims of racism, not black people. That's what they want to hear. You know what I mean?
No, that's what they say.
Yeah. They are the power. You get it? They might not have the numbers like the liberals, but when it comes to the wealth and the resources, they definitely have that.
Oh, for sure.
You get me? And they're making a move to actually take over the country, right? And it started with Donald Trump. You know, it started with Donald Trump. And Donald Trump, what did he try to do when he lost the election? He tried to what? Take over the country.
Overthrow it. Try to overthrow it.
Exactly. You think these people are just going to give up like that? They're not like Muslims. Sorry to say it like that. They're not giving up. They will tell their children and their children's children to keep pushing this plan until they succeed. You get me? They're not going away. You know, and I do believe that they will eventually succeed because they are willing to do the things that other people are not willing to do. So Daniel Haqiqatjou, he's not trying to be rational. He doesn't have to be rational. All he's trying to do is appease the crowd. That's it. You know, and he's trying to fill the crowd of the alt-right with numbers. And who are the numbers he's filling them with? From which demographic?
Immigrant Muslims.
Immigrant Muslims. Duh. That's the whole. He don't work for Islam. Come on, man.
Nope.
You know, they got an advertisement for AIM conference. I think the advertisement say come to the conference. They have qualified scholarship. And I want to ask, what is Daniel's what makes Daniel have qualifications in Islam, qualified Islamic knowledge? Mm-hmm. He has a degree in secular knowledge that Islam is against, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, philosophy.
Yeah, Islam is totally Islam is totally against that. So how that's authentic knowledge? This is one of their advertisement. They keep on falling in my news feed on Facebook. So I'm trying to, and they put his name, all this authentic scholar with authentic knowledge. I'm like, what he has is Islamic and authentic in Islam.
Yeah. So we as Black people, especially from the Black grassroots, we have to be able to compartmentalize how things work and learn how things work as well. What you're mentioning about this group, right? When you see a group like that, they have all these Salafis and then they put Daniel Haqiqatjou, right? It can only be one or two things, right? Either they brought Daniel Haqiqatjou, like they said, to talk about the gay stuff, the LGBTs and whatnot, or they're throwing Daniel Haqiqatjou the most massive bone he's ever had in his career to push Muslims into the alt-right. Which is more likely?
They go to the alt-right.
Yeah, the latter, for sure.
It's like,
that's more likely. You can't tell me that Kareem Abu-Zayd don't know about Daniel Haqiqatjou. Nobody on earth can tell me he don't know about him. He knows about him very well. He knows about him his Qadriji tendencies. He knows about his Sufi teachers. He knows about his his lack of manners. He knows all that stuff.
Lack of Islamic knowledge.
Yeah, all his principles. Kareem Abu-Zayd that he's been refuting, and that Daniel Haqiqatjou has. He knows about it very well. Okay, and he still put him on.
SubhanAllah.
And every Salafi is looking at that flyer like, what is this? I don't know a single Salafi that said, be like, oh yeah, damn, Haqiqatjou on it. Yeah, great idea. Not one. Not the white ones, not the black ones. No Salafi looking at that flyer like, okay, boss. But he still put him on.
But it makes sense. It kind of makes sense, though. No, what makes sense? Because they know the Salafi community are the ones who are politically ignorant.
Yeah, well, yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
That is true.
Salafis, unfortunately, in America, they're politically ignorant.
Yeah, that is true.
So he could definitely get a pass in the corner where they're heading. They're looking towards the people they're looking for. They definitely don't know nothing about no Islamic politics, American politics. So they are naive. So they could definitely fall for this one, and they're going to fall for it.
Now remember, I said that scholars, right? They're not YouTubers, right? But Kareem Abu Zaid is a YouTuber.
Yeah, he is. Yep.
He is a YouTuber, and this helps his platform. You get it?
Yes, yes, yes.
All these transactional relationships that these people have. You know what I mean?
Him and Sag.
Yep.
And between the Deen Show,
Mm-hmm.
because all of them, even the title of their videos when they come out, all of them is geared towards the same topic.
Yeah. Yeah.
They follow the algorithm.
They're following the algorithms. They don't care. They're not concerned about the religion like that. They build in their platforms. You get it? That's
and
why
the algorithm is what YouTube want, not what Allah wants.
Exactly. So we looking at this like we the black we're like looking at this like we know what you're doing, man. Like you can't pull that small time stuff on us anymore, But at the same time, as I mentioned before, like many times, black people have to stay on code, or else we're just gonna lose again. We're seeing this happen right before our eyes. The real question is, what are you going to do about it? What can you do about it, right? It's very clear that our black scholarship, once again, is being used. Once again, our black scholarship is being exploited to build some other people's platform somewhere else,
Because we miseducated, and this happens to us everywhere in the black community because we're not united.
Yep.
We're not together. We're not educated. We're not making money. So because we have these dysfunction, other people profit off of our dysfunction.
Exactly.
And that's why they could promote Daniel and lose all the black Salafi imams in the poster, promote all right, Muslims promote all right. They could put them together.
Yeah. And how insulting is that to black people? It's incredibly insulting. People who know anyway, black people who know. No self-respecting black person will look at that and be like, oh yeah, okay, boss. You know what I'm saying? So it's obvious that those black scholars, they don't know about the anti-Haqiqatjou. Like that's when I saw that, it was clear to me they didn't know. Very clear, right? So, but Kareem Abu Zaid, nobody on earth can tell me he doesn't know. You will never be able to convince me that he doesn't know, and I will take that to Yom Qiyamah.
They've collaborated before. There's absolutely no way he doesn't know.
Exactly. You get it? You see the game here? Right? So you have to be smart. You have to be intelligent. You have to move differently.
Yeah.
I said it before last time that Sheikh Ukasha Kameni, Sheikh Bilal Phillips, and Sheikh Abu Usama, those three by themselves is a conference. People will pay the same money or more to see those three.
Yeah.
By themselves. Who really paying to see Kareem Abu Zaid?
You can go to his YouTube channel if you want to.
Yeah.
And he's somebody new. And in the day, he's somebody who just came out new.
Yeah. And nobody ain't really like feeling him like that. I'm sorry, but it's true. It's true. They did the same thing with Imam Siraj. Remember Ikna Isna days? They did the same thing. They rode the back of that Negro to the bank.
He got nothing to do with them. Like Ikna,
he
got nothing to do with.
Yeah. You know what I mean? It's not that so many times they did this, but again, it's because we chase our own scholarship out because other people tell us to chase our own scholarship out, and we fall for it every single time. And this is the results. So we can't really complain until we fix ourselves.
Definitely.
Yeah. I like what MG said here. As soon as you mention about to black folk about staying on code, there's always one who says, "Well, what about so and so race?" Right? Yeah, and as I said before, I'll say it again. Coons are people too, man. Coons and shines, and they're all people too, man. We got to be patient with our own people. Nobody else is going to be patient with them. Why can't we? We should be the first ones to be patient with our people. Nobody.
But some of our people know better, Aki. Some of the brothers I see who supporting him don't know better. Somebody asked me about 2 weeks ago on Facebook, "Oh, who preceded you in this and calling Daniel far right?" What sheikh? What student artist came out and not as bad?
Give him my channel, okay? You send him here.
I told him, I showed him a video of Sheikh Tahir White about Daniel.
Yeah.
And I said, you love Sheikh Tahir? I said, this is your sheikh. You love Sheikh Tahir White? That's your sheikh. I said, look, he refuted him. He said that
when people ask dumb questions like that, because it is an incredibly dumb question, right? Even he shot himself in the foot. Okay, which sheikh said to listen to Daniel Haqiqatjou?
Right.
Told him the same thing. Who's promoting him?
Kareem Abu Zaid. Sheikh Kareem Abu Zaid said it. Okay, go get all Kareem Abu Zaid's reputations on the Khawarij and put Daniel Haqiqatjou's statement about Saudi Arabia next to it, right? All the Muslim countries being kafir next to it. Okay. Talking about get all and then put them side by side and then you measure. Come on, man.
If you ask Daniel these things on Facebook, he blocked you automatically. He don't even want
No, he'll block. I got blocked from him so fast. Yeah, he'll block you.
I don't even. For me, my whole thing is like this, right? YouTube and dawa don't go together. Right, we don't try to make this channel a dawa channel at all. What we're doing is like commentary or whatnot. If I put dawa, it's live dawa. I'm out actually on the street making dawa, like real dawa to somebody, not like like grassroots dawa. It's like real grassroots dawa, not the stuff that you find on YouTube. Okay, and that social media. If you're not making money or using your social media to make money, then you shouldn't be on it. Unless it's just your family, your immediate family, and your customers on it, right? But if you out there messing with influencers and stuff, where you can be reading hadith or Quran, like these type of things, then why are you trying to get in an argument with influencer? They make
my thing. But I hope maybe Josh or you can answer me. What is Daniel's end game? That's why I read his stuff. I read his website. He's not calling to Allah. So what is his end game? I asked that to all his followers. Really, that's for his followers. What is Daniel end game? He's not calling to Allah. He doesn't recite Quran. He doesn't use hadith. What is he calling to at the end of the day if he's not calling to Allah?
He's calling to all right.
Misguidance. I mean, his idiot followers are gonna say he's calling to Islam, but
anybody.
Those guys are idiots. Those guys are idiots.
Where? Look at his website. I don't find no verse in Quran. Look, his book list on his website. There's nothing. There's no. Not even the Quran is mentioned as the book list. No Islamic book. Not even the Quran is mentioned to read list.
Yeah,
philosophy and all this academic kufr stuff that's against liberal. Come on.
That reading list is just filled with modernist thinkers.
Yeah,
white modernist thinkers.
Yeah, Western thinkers. Yeah, Western thinkers fighting other Western thinkers, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, he is essentially he's not leading alt-righters to Islam. He's leading Muslims to the alt-right. It's not going into Islam at all. Let's be very clear upon that. Very, very clear. And when you speak to anybody who listens to Daniel Haqiqatjou and you tell them stuff, they always come with the exact same arguments every single time, like robots. Like robots. Drones. You know what they're gonna say even before they say it, right?
Yeah. Don't even waste your time.
Yeah.
It's pointless.
I mean, they have like you know how Jordan had that go-to move, fadeaway jumper, right? That's like the they have a go-to move, Oh, Yakin Institute or Omar Suleiman. And nobody talking about Yakin Institute or Omar Suleiman. I'm telling you what Jane Haqiqatjou saying. You're talking, oh, what about feminism and LGBTQ? That's it. That's all they have.
Yeah.
That's all they have. We talking about Jane Haqiqatjou saying ABC.
Zero critical thinking.
Yeah.
It's just parroting the same thing.
Yeah.
They don't know how to critically think at all.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brothers. How are you guys tonight?
Alhamdulillah. What you got for us, bro?
Alhamdulillah. I just wanted to bring your attention to the email I sent to you the other night.
Oh, with the Quran?
Yeah.
I didn't understand what they were saying. What were they saying?
So, I'm sorry. The caption was Somali. I thought I translated for you. So basically, what it was they printed a Quran in Dubai that has the gay flag color.
The rainbow colors.
Yeah.
The rainbow colors. Yeah. I thought it was that.
I honestly thought that was coming, but I never thought it was coming this quick or this early.
Dude, you're talking about the enemy here, man.
Subhanallah. Yeah. I said, why everything that's against Islam is coming out from that little island, man? I just don't get it.
Glorified gas station.
Yeah.
I've been enjoying you guys all night long. I've been listening to you. Thank you very much. I just wanted to get a shout out to that one and tell brothers and Muslims to be aware. I mean, they're no different. They're no different from the guys you guys talking about. The all right.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
They're all right in thobes.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Subhanallah. May Allah save us, ya. This is hard times. May Allah save us.
It is very difficult.
Assalamu alaikum. Jazakumullah khair.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi.
Okay, bros, it's way past my bedtime, man. I go to sleep normally at 10 o'clock, man. It's 11:30 now, man. But I just wanted to jib jab with y'all tonight, just about this stuff, right? So we went on for a minute, right? But Jazakallah khair, thanks for all the brothers that participated. Josh, I'll let you get your last word in.
I appreciated the Friday night discussion. It was a surprise. I just opened up the homepage and I saw it live, so I wanted to hop on. But alhamdulillah, I appreciated the discussion. I appreciate the forum. It was nice talking with both of you guys, Bilal and Abu Barat. Nice as usual. Hope you guys have a good weekend and hope to talk to you guys soon. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Brother Abu Barat, go ahead.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Brother Josh. The show was very good. I hope the word does get across. I hope people listen, but I want to say to all Daniel's followers, what is his end game? Doesn't call with Quran, doesn't call Hadith. I spend hours on his website. I don't hear him calling people to Allah, except for the white nationalists. He called them nicely to Islam, and I don't see them becoming Muslim.
He doesn't even do that. He doesn't even call them to Islam either, man. It's like let's be clear on that. But anyways, keep going.
I want to know what's his end game. What is his purpose at AIM conference? If he's have the all right position and he has bad behavior, he doesn't have Islamic knowledge. So what authentic Islamic authenticity he's going to give us? That's all I wanted to say, man. Because your videos, I read the comments in your videos too. And they say we sound like the Nation of Islam here talking. We talking about people are racist towards blacks
and you're talking
who are Muslim.
But
we're Nations of Islam. I read the comments in your videos, man. And the Muslims, I'm like, you guys don't know what racism is.
No, they don't. They have no clue. And they're very happy to sign off on anti-black racism anyways. But the reason why I post that is so that you black people can see these are the people that you're calling your brothers. And that's how they see you. You get it? Don't think that we're capping over here. It's all real. It's all real. They don't deal with a single point, not one single point that I brought up. Which point did I bring up that sound like the Nation of Islam to you? Just bring it up. You know what I mean?
May Allah reward you. May Allah reward you. and I hope I think Facebook, your channel, some of the comments and reviews and the chat, I think Facebook is not trying. I mean, not Facebook. Yeah, Facebook and YouTube is not promoting your stuff. So I hope really brothers and sisters really financially support your channel. I very much enjoy it, and I love how the racist Muslims does make them mad.
Yeah.
And,
Me
so
too.
so may Allah reward you.
I enjoy that as well. I hope they burn in this life.
I'd be shocked. I'd be shocked, man. I'd be shocked to hear what Muslims saying. They'd be racist. But may Allah reward you. And I hope people keep on financially supporting your channel. Salaam Alaikum.
I got to. And Jazakallah khair, everybody who participated in this late night. I know it was like impromptu, right? And I apologize for keeping you all up so late. But Jazakallah khair. I reward you all. And maybe we'll catch you tomorrow, inshallah. Maybe I'll do like a proper live tomorrow, inshallah. But we'll see, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May Allah reward you and bless you all. Ameen.